No, go to mommy, good boy.
They take away the knowing, the elders' words not flowing. Children don't remember the fire, the ember. Stories in the wind now, can't find the way back somehow. Roots pulled from the ground, sacred songs without sound. But we still standing, we're still standing strong. The lost faculty, yeah, the lost faculty. What they took from we, the lost faculty. The lost faculty, yeah, the lost faculty. Rise up and you'll see the lost faculty. Remember, remember, remember. Remember the lost faculty.
Yeah, I'm just setting up. It was the music. Hi, Monk. Yeah.
A minute kidogo.
Sawa.
I'm setting some
Sawa,
next
sawa,
kidogo.
sawa.
A minute.
Spirit can die, oh, carried in the heartbeat, truth beneath our bare feet. Nothing really gone, just have to bring it home. We're still standing strong. We're still standing strong. The lost faculty, yeah, the lost faculty. What they took from we, the lost faculty. The lost faculty, yeah, the lost faculty. Rise up and you'll see the lost faculty. Teach the children what remains within. Teach the children, let the truth begin. Teach the children, resurrection time.
Yeah.
Teach
Oh,
the
you're here.
children, what is your
Yeah, so tell me about X. I didn't know there were communities in X. I always thought that X is for only people talking about politics, technology.
We actually have a very big community on the X platform. That's actually where the first place I started speaking to people. I actually found them there, so I never also knew there were spaces, but I found them there. They have a very big community. People had
Really?
joined a long time ago, but I was,
Eish.
yeah, really. And you see, we made it almost karibu kila every day.
Eh,
Yeah, the community grew until there was a point where now the spaces were being held almost each and every day because now the hosts became many. People were much
yeah. Wow.
fascinated. They actually wanted to hear. So we were making a lot of spaces. But it
Eish.
was majorly it was on weekends. But after some time, people said, we need to do this almost daily. Very big community.
I couldn't, I never imagined, like, because I tried exploring Twitter and I think I didn't find anything. I didn't find any community.
No, we have them. We have them.
Eish, I should. How which one can I look up? For example, I have just logged in.
You've logged in. Maybe I send you the username.
Yeah, please do. Where will you send me?
Then
How can
I
I?
think you have to follow me then. I think you have to follow me then. We will notify you the moment we are on.
I want to see how many others are there, how many other communities. What's your username? Your Twitter? Ama ni Street Monk. Cha tuone.
Nataka nitume hiyo nini.
Okay, sawa.
Sijui
Utanitumia?
kama you get stickable. Ndakutumia inbox.
Sawa, haina shida. Haina
Mm.
shida. But sikuwa najua, ndio maana nimeshangaa
Na TikTok, how long have you been? Umekuwa huku for how long here on TikTok? Umekuwa na communities. How long have you been here?
hii mwaka, but I have just been active, ile active kutoka kitu August, like for 2 months.
Na bado huku kumekuwa na watu like there have been a community speaking on such matters.
Wengi sana, very many, like it's inexhaustible. Like there are people I met 3 months ago that I have not met again, and I can still remember them. There are very many, and I think ni venye tu ziko spread, but ziko
Mm. Na specifically kuna I mean Kenyans ama ni because niliona majority ya
eh,
wase ni
kuna Kenyans, kuna Kenyans, yeah, naweza sema kuna Kenyans. I've met Kenyans who are very very awake na wanajua Kenya wanasema, but they are few and spread in between.
but lakini hii kitu hii okay. Hii kuanga very sensitive because there was a time tulikuwa tunaongea na wase kwa X and I was telling them hii kitu ni so broad design yenyewe. There will be a lot of pseudo guys, they will be telling you a lot of things na in reality kwa wao it's not an experience they have had. They have actually maybe read something or seen something, because I always do tell them hata spirituality pia ni another marketplace kama venye religion hii kuwa tu.
Ukweli.
It's another marketplace tu, hivyo tu. Na msee hawezi realize atakuja. Okay, I always Twitter hii kuanga noma sana. Come with a lot of stories.
eh,
We
hebu
put them
niambie.
at kwa corner tunawambia explain whatever you're saying bwana. You may be saying something thinking maybe it is your own, na maybe umetusomea vitabu. Now it gets very serious. Hii kuanga noma sana.
Sikuwa najua, lakini Twitter kuna
Yeah,
such a bit communities.
there is a very, it is actually kwanza majorly ilikuwa ni a Kenyan space. There was a guy alikuwa anaitwa Outlaw na kina Tevo. Kwanza ilianza kama conspiracy. I hope unajua hizo story. So USA, vaccine the same.
Yeah.
So it grew from a point that people said, no, let us narrow down. We want to get to the end of this conspiracy thing. So maybe the earth is flat, the earth is round.
Ndio wakanarrow down juu ilikuwa pia
Yeah.
stuff ya conspiracy na
Kasema there is
kuanga
no
mingi
need tushinde na conspiracy na we want to get anywhere with
na
it.
ikuangi
So
productive.
go to loops to msee anasema the earth is flat, the earth is round. In fact they were arguing on such matters. Nikamwambia so tutashinda tu hapa, someone will tell you this, we ukuje na zako, we are not getting anywhere.
Ukweli.
Tukirudi nyumbani baadaye nobody is convinced of anything, kila msee anarudi tu the earth is flat, earth is round.
Ukweli,
So
ukweli.
tukaquit hizo story hatu, we were like hapana.
Aya, hii ni interesting bwana. I wish I knew there was such a community, like juu experience yangu hapa TikTok ni ati watu wako, lakini wengi wako lower mental faculties, like watu wako na haraka ya kuargue facts ziko advanced, yes, yet ha understand the basics of philosophy, like even venye na structure argument yake, unapata msee anakanyaga steps 10 at the same time, so hata unashindwa uta challenge msee kwa point ya kwanza ya
Ama
pili
ama akuwe emotional, ama akuwe emotional.
hiyo ni
Unajua
challenge
ndio basi.
ingine. Exactly.
Msee anakuwa emotional tu for no reason, anashika tu moto kwa sababu anang'ang'ana kudefend kitu, si na hiyo kitu ana defend hata
Ukweli.
conviction yake tu ni kitu amejiwekea tu, ameamini tu hivyo, whatever ana feel ni right. Inakuwa challenging sana. Unaona hata hii swali umeweka hapa on the nini, how does ignorance project an illusory world of multiplicity? To begin with, msee hata hawezi kubali kwamba dunia, the world is illusory kwanza to begin with. So you will get in trouble. Actually, this is one of the things that I actually do speak about, kwamba everything is illusory. Now it is one of my best things that I've had your experience may have within your period. I've been looking through hizo because nimeangalia a lot of philosophies, all those things, and for me ni ukweli kwamba the world is illusory. Now you'll have to convince you msee kwamba the world is illusory kwa sababu asha believe ni ukweli, so you will get in trouble.
kumaanisha umekapitia, so unajua kenye
Okay, there
unasema.
was a time I was branded very dangerous. Hiyo time nikiwa ex okay, huko they call me street mystic. So alikuwa anasema kama vile tu mystic anasemanga kwamba I am not there and you are not there and the world is not there. So ilifika mahali okay, people got very angry like jamaa anasema nini? What is it? You are not
Eh,
there. What do you even mean?
mm-hmm. The
What do you even
immediate
mean I'm not there?
the immediate reaction is anger when they cannot understand, or
Uh,
when you
why?
confuse them.
You don't get it the first thing because their ideas zile concepts zao zinakuwa confronted wanashika now it's like they're losing something. I tell them no, with time tukiongea you'll come to realize the meaning of hiyo kitu inasema kwamba the world is an illusion, it's a projection of your own. Sasa
Mm.
mzee hawezi kubali kitambaa kubali mtakuwa mmepelekana mbio sana.
Manze, na
I tell them
huko idha ya kuconvince mtu.
eh, it's then sasa tuko na trouble tena, there comes these maybe religious people wanakuja kurusha zao. Now it's an open forum, we do accept everybody. In fact I do tell them okay, kuna wale there is this kind of group of people wenye wanaona maybe they've become spiritual such that wakisikia msee wa religion wako pale mbele kumwambia wewe uko na illusion wewe uko. I tell them no, wait, wewe jamaa yuko kwa illusion, it's only that we one step from kila msee yu anzanga hivyo, hata mtoto wa shule
Ni
anaanza
kama nursery, it's like nursery school. You,
ukimfukuza umwambie zi atakuwa neurotic juu sasa umwelezi the real thing. Wewe
mm,
unamwambia hiyo ni uongo hiyo, zi you need to call them and uwapeleke na logic yao ndio waone the problem yenye wako nayo ni gani.
you're very right,
Now
very right.
utakuja na sasa watakwambia I pray for God to forgive you. Now sasa hawa hata sasa ndio wabadiliki. Pray for God to forgive you. You don't know what you are doing. Those fear guys, fear propelled guys. You will burn in hell. Those kind of people.
So they make blanket judgments and
Yeah,
postulations.
yeah. From their own faith, whatever they have believed, they project it on you. I say, you'll.
Najua, I
It's
can see that.
uh,
There's a lot of spiritual confusion in the world, and what you're saying is
there is a
absolutely
lot,
right.
and you see, someone will think maybe they've seen something, but I always do tell them, be aware, because you may think you've seen something, but in reality, you haven't seen anything. Unaweza fikiria umetoka religion ukaenda spirituality, and maybe think ni kama kuna kitu umeona, and I'm promising you, hakuna kitu umeona. It is
Mm,
ni ile tu unaona ni kama umeona kitu. You are
yeah,
from one bondage ilikuwa inakaa ngori sana. Sasa umeenda kwa chain yenye unavalishwa pingu lakini ni za gold, so you think maybe like hii kitu ni so deep design yenyewe. People too watakuwa caught up hapa juu juu.
yes, yes. And you know the mind likes playing
Yeah,
that game on itself. And
that is it. That's its way of existence. That is the game now. Karibu sasa. What is it?
let me welcome a new
It
friend.
will take you this.
Yeah, let me welcome somebody here. I cannot
Yeah,
see
yeah.
your name. Welcome. Can you speak Swahili or just English?
English.
No, I'm not saying you, street monk. The other
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. I know, I know.
Mi
See.
ni Mkenya bana, mbona una struggle
Siwezi assume. I cannot assume.
yeah,
By the
sure,
way,
yeah. TikTok in attract many people, so
by the way,
huwezi
Mm-hmm.
there was a time tulikuwa X na wasee wakasema you see even this English language is a coded language na it's taking us to loops. Hata wasee tuongeeni hata Kiswahili. Ah,
Juu kwa language yako unaweza think direct.
lakini sincere I actually did a lot of things on English language. Nilikuwa napiga research on English language and I realized a lot. Kusema ukweli English is a double-edged sword na ni
Yeah,
hatari sana. It's
I
a very
agree.
dangerous language by the way. But again ukielewa it becomes a tool, inakuwa rahisi sana kwako kuelewa vitu. Let me give an example tuanzie hapo so that we proceed. You see
Mm-hmm.
if nikisema the idea of the word individual immediately wakisema individual si mtu atafikiria ni a person, si ndio?
Yeah.
Literally from the English word, lakini the deep ukienda kwa English word
Mm-hmm.
individual mahali ilitoka inatoka na from the word indivisible, unaona. So indivisible ukienda kwa indivisible inaenda to something which is whole, si ndio?
Mm-hmm.
Whole, like a whole. So hiyo individual si
Oh.
a separate person, it's
Mm.
indivisible which is whole, which is one, unaona sasa.
Mm. So
So the upper meaning in your
uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. The upper meaning?
so the upper meaning hapa meaning yenye wasi watachukua ni individual, inamaanisha a person, unaona, a
Yeah,
separate person, but
yeah.
hawaelewi the second meaning which means single, which means whole na indivisible. Now a person is divisible kwa sababu a person ukisema ni mwili, a body can be divided, hata
Yeah,
mind inaweza kuwa divided into thoughts, hizo vitu, lakini
yeah.
indivisibility inamaanisha that whole which is one.
Very true. I concur. I agree. Hiyo na agree.
So hii ukuanga noma sana hiyo language, alafu but kuna sasa wasi walikuja na hizo story wakasema hapana, hii English language
Nasikianga hawa
tupwe
wase na
tuongee Swahili.
wanakuwa lost.
Wameshika aspect moja ya kitu fulani, ni
Basi
hiyo anakufa nayo.
ati wanakuambia sijui san, so they're trying
Eh,
to derive meaning and import from mere words, and words unless you go back to the
eh,
etymology of a word, it's just the pronunciation. You can say san was
yeah, I
borrowed.
was there some other time back, kuna wasali niambia don't tell me good morning bwana, are you morning or morning, niambia zizi,
Na wako
sio hizo,
serious,
sio hizo.
na
Wako
wako
very
serious.
serious by the way. Ukisema ati I have understood, wakasema don't say understand, say understand. Nikamwambia man, sasa tusilimit hizi vitu to bare words. So.
Me, I see it as a situation whereby like people are just trying to look for identity and meaning out of, people are just desperate to derive some identity because everything else that used to give them an identity has been exposed as falsity. Like we are in an age whereby people are just like realizing that they have been naked for so long, and technology inakuja ku accelerate this kind of exposure. Like in the sense of interactions, AI na you don't have to spend years in the library studying something. Unajua kitambo something would only be domiciled in a certain library, like go back 600 years ago. For you to access a single uh, item of knowledge, you'd have to travel to some library, and even to access whatever is written, what was not necessarily in an English, in a language you could immediately relate with. You needed scribes to help you interpret what the scriptures are saying. Lakini right now, at least English language is universal, so nothing is hidden to anybody that can speak English, either in Europe or America, that I cannot understand. For as long as I just have the sincerity to read. So language is a good thing. It's a tool.
I think we cut off. I think we cut off the other guy. Bwana hata hajatusalimia.
Oh, alikuwa alishajua like anaweza ongea anytime, si ndio mzee ya?
Mwambie.
Alishajua ni speak for yourself, my friend.
Niko very free. I'll jump in nikifeel kuna kitu nataka kusema, but I like the conversation you people have.
Yeah, welcome.
Yani nyinyi sasa you are the few may understand kila msako kwa box yake.
Si ndio manzi, ndio ishi na wasee, inabidi understand
eh,
man.
eh,
Ndio
so
uishi in this confused society, lazima understand.
yeah, most people like putting themselves in boxes. Unapata atheist ndio amekuja. Sasa unashanga without the religious guy hata kungekuwa na huyu atheist.
Ni amemweka kwa job, ni amempea job.
Mi waambianga, it is one of the things that you tell them kwamba others na
Um,
theist actually are not very different. Mmoja ana believe positively, mwingine ana believe negatively. Wote hawajui. They should be humble enough to accept. They don't know bana. Lakini
yeah, they're
we
just
cannot
in different
impress.
boxes.
Ni watu wana believe tu. The other one ana believe positive kwamba yes there is. Ule ana believe negative kwamba hakuna. They are not even, ni meli moja tu.
Unajua mnanikumbusha kwa zimuambia mabeshte wangu ji, niko na mabeshte atheists na niko na mabeshte like wako kwa religion na miguu yote mbili. Nawaambianga mi sioni difference yote na nyinyi, cause sometimes they fight and you are not able to take sides. Juu wote unaona tu ni umblei na like ni knowledge tu na ego zinapigana. They just, mmoja ako kwa hii side ya duality, mwingine ako kwa hii side. Huyu mwenye anasema hivi bado hana foundation, huyu mwingine hana foundation, so unashindwa really. Eh, so me discuss easy topics. You can always feel free anytime to pop in my life. Me discuss easy topics. Me consider like a truth warrior, someone who would rather die for truth and not for friendship. So I'm the kind of guy who would rather side with truth instead of trying to massage your ego to show loyalty to you, even though what you're saying is ignorant. And I appreciate and request the same of every acquaintances that I make, especially here on these platforms, because many a times I have seen people like following the herd mentality. People do not people often the people do not want to be alone. They do not want like truth is something that you're supposed to die with, even if you're the only one who actually knows the import of a certain truth. But you will find that sometimes people tend to watu wanaendanga kwenye already
And
kuna.
you see, nikijaribu tu ku, nataka nilete in hiyo the English meaning of the word alone ndio ujue how English pia imeanza kuwa shida.
Uh-huh.
If people don't look at it carefully. Alone saizi ukifikiria alone in the normal person anafikiria alone inamaanisha a separate person, si ndio? Mtu tu kivyake, separate us from others. Lakini ukienda the deeper meaning of the word alone, alone was related from a combination of two words, all and one. So all plus one inamaanisha alone. So see eti alone has become all. See alone as a separate person, it's alone as the total. So
Mm.
all plus one in a form alone. It is all plus one in a form alone. So it's a totality. Alone as a totality. See alone as a separate person. So what
Wow.
you to me the word alone kumaanisha alone as a separate individual. See, it is alone. That is all is one. All plus one
Yeah,
in a form
bro.
alone. So
Hey.
alone is a totality. So as a whole, it is alone because there is none other than that.
Mse, you're intelligent. Nimepull ChatGPT na inasema the word alone has a beautiful and revealing etymology. It literally means all one. It comes from the Middle English, all one, which was a compound of all, meaning entire or whole, and one, meaning single. Over time, those two words fused into one, alone.
Even hata the word single, people do think single inamaanisha again if ati a person. See, it is single ile moja yenye iko that I yenye ni moja.
Acha
Yeah.
niangalie pia. I like
Single inamaanisha whole, single inamaanisha whole, whole inamaanisha indivisible again. Inamaanisha that one yenye ni indivisible.
where hey, this is at least I've learned something new. I I I love language. It says that the word single comes from a lineage that reveals much about the ancient understanding of simplicity, purity, and individualness. Here's the etymological path. Latin for the word was singulars, meaning one, individual, separate, unique. This root itself is a diminutive of sim, meaning same as in simple, and simul, meaning one, together, unified. And it goes on and on to explain. So you're right. So that's why even because most of the English in the Bible, most people I think they do not understand because they tend to try to interpret these words in modern context, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
People should actually go look kwa hizo nini. Iko na okay, the word single iko na two. Okay, the word individual iko actually na two meanings. Iko na two appearances. As a ikiwa peke yake it is ni single, but when reflected it appears as separate. That's why inawekwa single dot separate. Inamaanisha as a whole ni singular, but when reflected inakuwa multiplicity but in multiplicity form ina appear to be separate, unaona? So it is singular and single and separate. Iko hivyo tu, single in its own essence, separate in manifestation.
so it's not a crime to be single
That's why
after all.
it is not. Ni ile hii kitu ikijireflect in form, ikijireflect in every form inajireflect as I am myself and I cannot be anything else. Hiyo
Yeah.
single inajireflect as in every form, inajireflect as mimi ni mimi na siwezi kuwa kitu ingine. That is its nature.
So now
So
that's
everybody inakaa separate.
so we can say this is where the human ego took over, because the human ego was supposed to perceive that unity but then it ends up owning, it ends up possessing the singleness, right?
Ili forget what mimi ni mimi means. Unajua hiyo singular ina manifest as mimi ni mimi. Now the human ego forgot to
Mm.
understand what this mimi ni mimi means. Ikafikiria it's a body. Unaona?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
ika create a certain sense of separateness kidogo. Instead of kuona mimi ni mimi does not mean mimi as a body. It means mimi as the singular which is one. It is mimi ndio mimi sasa. Unaona?
wow,
But when
interesting.
reflected in a body,
Very
so the
interesting.
mind mistook what mimi, the mind mistook what mimi ni mimi really means. It ikafikiria it means a body. Now bodies are sasa ndio hiyo aspect they are unique
Mm-hmm.
ama separate, unaona.
na, na,
So
na, now,
ego sasa
na,
ikadevelop
na,
sasa.
na how can we contextualize in the contemporary society when where you will find people wanapenda kusema like mimi niko unique, I am unique. Yes, deep down there is a truth, but again you can feel the ego. It is just the ego trying to possess the uniqueness. How can we explain that and still within that context?
Yeah, hiyo kuanga tough one because each and every time I do get people wanasema mimi mi naanzanga tu na on a very high note, naanzanga mimi ni nini. Hiyo mimi unasema what do you actually refer? Don't accept hata hiyo kitu ya mimi ipotee. Like I don't, mi huwa sikubali because mi najua the next moment tukislip away from hiyo mimi, because you may have assumed mimi ni something else. Someone may have assumed already before akisema mimi ana refer to nini, utarealize ana refer to body, and
Mm,
that's where the problem comes from. So
mm,
inakuwa ego sasa, anaringa akisema mimi
mm,
I'm unique. So
mm.
what is that you
So
considering?
everything that follows tu imebeziwa na foundation yenye iko based on ego.
Naanguka. It is a false assumption. So unasema mimi as if you know yourself. But you see, the funniest thing I always do tell people, you actually don't know yourself. Because you
Yes.
cannot be an object of your own. Unajua ni very funny. You cannot say mimi kwa sababu, how do you say mimi? How do you see yourself? Are you the image or are you the subject or object? You cannot be again an object of your own self kwa sababu si ni wewe ndio subject. How do you again say ndio huyu mimi? How do you even point to yourself? Well, what has happened? I always do tell them the
Eh,
closest you can come to ni ujione kwa kio. Na even ukijiona kwa kio, you have not even seen yourself. It's a
true,
reflection of you in which
true.
sio wewe bado. So there is no, at no point utakuja kusema ndio huyu mimi. There is no. In fact, logically and experientially, hautasema ndio huyu mimi. You cannot. There is no way of saying ndio huyu mimi kwa
Very
sababu
true.
nani ameona how? How has it happened?
Very true. That means you are separate from yourself, so that you're
Which
able
is
to perceive,
impossible.
which is impossible.
You can only see your image, ni kama uone shadow yako, your shadow is not you. So I always tell them, hiyo mimi unasema unafikiria unajua, but wewe ujui. Ignorance inakwambia you know it but you don't know it. Ujui, hebu angalia vizuri, you'll see you have assumed something kwamba ni mimi, lakini it is not.
How
Now
the
it gets interesting, like it gets tough. Hapo ndio msee you shika moro, what are you even saying now?
how does this ignorance become manifest in the attempt of man to understand God? How does this same ignorance become apparent in the attempt of mankind to understand and know God? Like you'll see people like calling themselves Christians or from whichever religion, they're trying to study God as something that is like the same way tumeona hapo kwa mimi. Like the same ignorance is projected on God and reality.
Unajua it's a very dangerous take kwa sababu the moment they've taken mimi as something separate which is a body, you know they will never find God. Unajua hivyo kwa sababu the separation is itself assumed. Now I always tell them if something is initially separated it can never be united because nilikuwa nawapea analogy ya they tell you kujeni tucheze World Cup and they tell you in this World Cup we are uniting continents. I tell them no, you are not, kwa sababu you think you are uniting but you will call this one Africans, you call that one Europeans, na call wale wengine. It does not matter hata ukiwaleta pamoja, you still creating the division. The fact that you call this one Africans and this one Europeans, so you will never unite those people kwa sababu you've already separated. So the moment you tell yourself kwamba I am a man, I am a body and I'm looking for God, you will never find him.
Mm,
The first step ndio error, the first step ndio error. Like wewe umejiseparate, wewe ni nani? You've taken yourself to be something which you are not. Unaona? Then out of that hata utafute miungu wa gani huwezi pata because you are looking, wewe ushaenda nje, umeenda
kweli.
outside. It's like you've created a certain separation, then you think of uniting it. In fact, the idea, I always tell people the idea of uniting means separation. Sitio,
Yeah.
una unite nini? You separated first, then you
You're
want to unite.
separated. Yeah. Yes.
Eh, but the funniest thing is we are not even separated from God because it is clearly impossible to be separated from
Yeah.
God kwa sababu how
Yeah.
because yeah I do napelekanga wase wa kanisa na very simple logic. You tell me from your own description of God kwamba God is everywhere na God is all powerful, those hizo characters za mni sijui nini, I always ask them a very simple question: if God is everywhere, then wewe ni nani? Like, where have you come from? Wewe sasa mwenye unaongea, who are you? Where have you come from?
Yeah.
Wewe umetoka wapi?
And where
if,
are you
if he's
going?
supposed to be everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
if he's supposed to be everywhere and in everything, na wewe sasa ni nani? Who are you? You'll come to realize wewe ndio shida. You've created wewe
Yes.
unajiimaginia vitu. How ni kama I always give them an example, niwaulize hebu tuseme can we go out of space, hii space yenye the normal space we have in
Mm-hmm.
mind, hii space ya
Mm-hmm.
kawaida, can you ever go out of that space? Hata uende wapi you are there, hata uende wapi you are
You're
there, hata
there.
like
True,
you
true.
have already been consumed by the entire space, ndio. So you
Ukweli.
are not yourself, you are, in fact the space ndio imekucover. So I
Mm-hmm.
always tell them, wewe toka kwa hesabu utaona the only person there is God, in which wewe hauko. It is in two way, it's either wewe
Mm-hmm.
hauko ama God hayuko, which means the same.
Mm-hmm.
But they tell you hapana,
Mm-hmm.
they want to maintain that aspect of separateness. Hiyo ndio illusion, inataka tu it wants to keep itself separate, ndio iulize maswali, ndio iombe, hiyo ndio shida yake sasa.
Is that where ego derives its value?
That is itself the ego. Hiyo ndio ego sasa, na it will build on that foundation forever,
Forever.
inang'ang'ana.
So like that.
Forever. Alafu
Uh-huh.
it's a loop.
It's a loop.
Haijioni, it
Hygiene.
does not get so
Uh-huh.
inashinda tu hapo, inashinda because the first step ni inafikiria yeye ni kitu ingine. You see, the moment ego inaamka from itself, inafaa kujua ni wapi imetoka, but sasa haijui ni wapi, then it picks a body alafu imeanza mbio. That is ignorance, unaona.
Yes.
Inaanza story, so ina begin kukola. Ni kama mtoto mdogo, I always tell them, hebu angalia mtoto mdogo akianza kusikia unaosema kikombe nini, anaanza kusema hivyo na anassume anajua, anasema kikombe, lakini the deep, ukiangalia vizuri uta realize this child does not know, ni story tu ananipigia juu amesikia nikisema, but in reality hajui ni kikombe, anasema tu vitu. Now that is how binadamu actually is a child forever, ni mtoto mdogo, but
Yeah.
sasa it's a matter of time tu imebadilika, bado ni the same
The
ignorant person.
same.
So
The same.
anafikiria anajua but ajui, so anashita mimi najua hii ni nini hii. So I always tell them, you confuse names with knowing. You've actually named something for convenience na for language na communication, but you don't know what the hell that thing is. Ni jina tu tumeipatia ndio tuweze kuongea. I always tell them, you think this is a cup, hebu angalia vizuri, cup ni jina umeipatia, what ni nini hiyo kitu? The description of the mountain is not the mountain. Hata udescribe mountain vizuri aje, sio hiyo bado.
Ukweli. No
So
matter the vocabulary.
however beautiful inaka, even if you are so good in capturing by words, it is still not the real thing.
How has this meant the death of Western philosophy? Because when you look at the Western philosophy, it is beautified by so many aesthetic concepts, big words, but deep down you're going to have to meet 99 philosophers who have become transformed by their philosophy. You're only going to meet one out of 100. 99 have not become transformed by the philosophy they claim that is supposed to be transformative.
You see, the problem I have with the Western philosophy and maybe the Western sciences ni hiyo aspect ya the empirical value in everything, the conviction kwamba something must have to be verified kwa hizo the level of the senses, kwamba it should be verified empirically. Unaona hiyo kitu yukwanga very challenging because at that moment whatever wana consider kwamba ndio the tool in which watatumia ku verify ukweli ni maybe their senses na their mind, of which hiyo ndio one of the most deluding things if we look at it carefully, because sasa they wanataka ku reduce everything to the measure of there is no empirical observation ama confirmation for this. Now it becomes challenging the moment we have, unajua shida hii kuanga, you cannot hata utumia a lot of words, you cannot substitute kwa sababu the real experience ndio the real thing. So unaweza sema tu kwa words, but the words forever remain empty kama iko backed up na evidence.
Experience. So everything narrows down back to experience, and experience is beyond conceptualization. of
It's
course.
beyond. I always tell, naambia msee, hebu kunywa hii soda utajua ni tamu. Then I ask you ni tamu aje? Now we are in shock because I know what tamu really means nikionja. But now to tell you what tamu is, the most complex thing of things. Because how will I tell you ni tamu? We onja, alafu you will know what tamu really means. Now it gets challenging for language because language inakuwa limited at that point. I can only tell you kwamba ni tamu. Then you tell me how. Then the how is beyond me. The only way naweza kuambia ni si uonje, then we will tutaongea pamoja.
Kweli.
So
Eh,
it's,
this is the folly of all modern philosophy, and because it insists on arriving at that through the intellect, yet the intellect has its inherent limits, because the intellect can only go so far. There is that experience that is to be gained, whereby you have to come face to face with emptiness of phenomena, right?
yeah, there must, and you see that is beyond the description of yani the intellect takes us to until a certain level. Okay, actually the intellect is meant to destroy itself. Yani to it's so intellectual design. It's supposed to understand its own. Uh, it must come to understand the impossibility of its own. Yani ile, well, how can I call it? The aspect that its own aspect of its limit what do I, okay, the limited its own limited capacity to understand whatever it's being confronted. Unaona, at that point yeye ana light, yeye anashuka kwa sababu ame realize, yani humility yake ni ame realize kwamba beyond hapa I cannot even say anything, and that is the point in which realization will happen. You immediately your intellect ina surrender kwa sababu ina realize whatever I'm going to face, unaona, iko actually very much beyond me. And that is the ego. Hiyo ndio death yake inaanzianga hapo. Before then still it will want to debate, itataka like the intellect actually wants to conquer reality of which it is impossible. Now atangangana until a point aone no, it is not this way. Whatever nimekuja kuama, whatever ni kama ile story ya majimaji, unakuja na mishale lakini huyu yako na bunduki. Now it becomes a very dangerous step, unaona?
Yeah.
Hapana. You realize your words, your logic inakuwa broken down. And that is the moment sasa anga inaanzia hapo kwa sababu the ego ina feel whatever I'm being faced by inakaa very dangerous. Ni kama death, ni kama you tell somebody man death inakuja.
Yeah, I
You will
know the
see
feeling.
atakwambia
Yeah.
usiongelee hizo story, usiongelee
Yeah.
hizo story.
Mm.
Usiongelee hizo story kwa sababu anajua deep down the ego inajua within yeye kwamba whatever I'm facing haibakishi hata kidogo, unaona. So it wants to, kwa sababu itaka ku maintain your its own aspect of separateness, inasema songesha kidogo, songesha kidogo.
Is that how man keeps on postponing truth? Because I've met
Yeah,
many
exactly.
many people, even at my earlier age when I was in early 20s, and I tried teaching or talking truth with them, but you will see that deep down there is a sincere need, but um when you position them in a position whereby you are trying to tell them like there's nothing required of them to know about truth, they tend to postpone the experience, and you will see that in their actions very well.
Yeah, yeah. There is one of the things in which I work with me each and every time I'm having a conversation, and that is death for me. I always tell people, death is not as far as you imagine. The moment you breathe in, that is life. The moment you breathe out, that is death. I always keep in hand with those two things because only with the death does the freedom happen, does realization happen. The moment you realize kwamba you can be dead any moment. As a matter of fact, death is not even far away. It is the moment you breathe in, you're in life. The moment you breathe out, it is death. Like if there is one thing which you are not supposed to postpone, is death. Kwamba your awareness, your consciousness of your own mortality, lazima ikuwe hapa. Otherwise, realization is out of question. Utakuwa tu una postpone ukisema I still have a lot of time. Hiyo sasa ndio illusion itself. It does not want to come to an end. It will always tell you si
There's
leo
time,
tutakufa
there's time.
kwingine. There is time. Ama ukishinda inakwambia tutaenda mbinguni. It is always creating something, always
Yeah.
there. Pale tu. So that is its own illusion of continuity. Haitaki to come to an end because inajua if I'm being confronted by death now, that hiyo ndio mwisho. But now the illusion is not of that type. Anataka tu kujiloop. No, it wants to keep on going. So it tells you kifo si leo, kifo ni kesho. But the moment if you become a little sensitive and a little conscious, you'll realize the moment I breathe in is life. I breathe out, it is death. But that
Yeah.
is the moment everything will change. Like you look at life very different. Kwamba death and life ni kitu moja. They are not even separate. The fact that you are living actually means you are dead.
Very true. We are dying every moment. The final death that
Yeah,
happens to us is just like the final death. Uh,
exactly. But now they will say, okay, well, the problem with the mind and it will bring tricks alafu conceptually inasema yes ukweli, lakini deep down it is holding on to something.
very true.
Ushaona msee, I always tell people, ushaona ule msee anakuja mahali alafu maybe ako very much afraid alafu ndio ajipe kara. I always tell them our motivational speakers they will lead you to trouble because they will tell you have courage, and I'm telling you courage is still the same fear. There is no such a thing as having courage because if you don't have fear you cannot have courage. Ushaenda mahali ukasikia msee anasema mimi sikuogopi, that is the most
Uh,
afraid person. Most afraid person. If you look at it carefully, huyo ndio mwoga wa mwisho. Ati hata sikogopi. That is the most afraid person.
I get it. It makes
Yeah.
sense
So
kabisa.
courage is fear.
Yeah.
Courage is fear. Courage is a form of fear. Hata mtu akwambia have courage. No, courage is fear. Understand the fear and get to the roots of it and destroy it in the roots. See, have courage. Courage is another
Mm.
camouflage of fear. You'll have courage for as long as you are afraid. You
That's why
don't
we
need fear.
that's why we talk of fearlessness, right?
Yeah,
Instead of
exactly. But
courage.
fearlessness is not courage. It's not courage.
Yeah.
It is absence of fear.
Yes.
Which is something completely now the ego inataka kudevelop because it wants to protect your fear. It will develop some funny things ikwambia twende na courage so ndio hiyo fear ibangi pale chini. So the fear is the mother, the courage is the child. So wote wako pamoja for as much as you're courageous, fear inakushika. Unaona?
Yeah.
Sema utasema sikuogopi lakini you are very in fact that statement itself is fear.
So nikawaiona mse anasema hivyo, nafaa nijue kwanza, kitu ya kwanza mse ana profess kenye anafanya
Yeye ndio muoga wa kwanza.
wa kwanza. Wacha kwanza ni introduce philosopher kwa hapa, best yangu sana aitwa Kingston. Kingston, welcome. And do you have any experience of having ever tried to explain someone truth and they recoil back to their ignorance? How did you handle it, and what was your experience when you brought a certain truth very close to somebody, Kingston? And how do we interpret that?
When we talk about truth,
Uh,
we may have to broaden the yardstick because first of all, truth is not like standardized. My truth cannot be your truth and vice versa. So sometimes truth goes beyond the concepts made by one individual.
yes.
So therefore, with this kind of dilemma, we find that we have to come up with something that is acceptable by both individuals so that it can be embraced by both. Because once I say that this is my truth, then you have your truth, then somebody will ask between the two truths all of you, or the two truths you all of you have, which one is the truth, you know? So
But
that is where
can I chip in kidogo tujaribu kudiscuss hiyo kitu ya truth because I always feel sisikiangi vizuri watu wakitumia the word truth vibaya. Okay, for me truth kuna vitu mbili zi natumianga very strictly. If I use the word truth ama the word reality, unaona, it means something very very specific to me. So nikisikia mzee anasema ati my truth na sometimes hiyo kitu inaanza kuninaona ngori. If we tukiweza discuss hizi what does truth actually mean, hebu tuseme tu okay, tuache hii ingine ya relative truth kwamba hii ni gari hii ni, let us leave that alone. I'm not talking of the relative aspect kwamba of course ukisema mimi ni mwanaume, yes it is true in relatively, mimi sina shida na hiyo. Mimi naongelea the ultimate truth, yani the end, yani okay, if we are to narrow down the base of it, yani ile truth moja ina stand out entirely, you know, the ultimate truth, if there is anything of such, because kuna philosophers who say there is no such a thing, but for me there is. Now tukisema truth, what are we referring to? Na mimi siongelee relative sense kwamba no, I'm not talking about that. I mean ultimately of kitu kama tuseme kitu kama your own existence, your own consciousness, kitu kama, is there any truth on the substrate yenye ina unify kila kitu at which yenye ni okay, for me the truth you refer to a certain point of indivisibility, a certain point of independence pale chini mahali the root of the entire tree. So if I say truth, mi simaanishi truth relatively. I mean truth, specifically truth for that which is independent yenye ndio the source of where everything comes from.
Primordial. And let me
Yeah, kitu kama hiyo.
and let me build on that question. Kingston, as you come in, what are the qualities of truth? Let's start from there. What are the distinctive qualities of truth? Like independent of dogma, independent of doctrine. What can we say? Let's start from there, Kingston, and then you can come in and you can compound your point after we discuss the qualities, the distinguishing qualities of the ultimate truth.
Uh, I don't think we can have, or human beings are capable of having an ultimate truth.
Okay. What does
Because
the word ultimate mean? I'm a monk, am I wrong to dig deeper in the etymology of the
You
words?
are not wrong. You are not wrong. Actually, that is the only direct way ya kufikia hiyo kitu because unless we tuone zile qualities yenye it may inaweza kuwa
Yes.
iko nayo, otherwise we are not getting
Yes.
closer to it at all. But
Yes.
again, Kingston, I think your assumption yako kidogo iko flawed because if the moment you've put us to a point of inability, ukishasema we are not capable, then inaleta shida tena. You see, it's an assumption you've made. Unaona, it's an assumption you've made. Sasa tutashindwa kusonga tena. Unaona,
So
so
okay,
I
okay,
think
let me
itafaa kuwa
ask,
open
let me
kidogo.
ask you straight.
let's start with the
Can you name for
definitions.
me? Can you name for me one ultimate truth you know?
Let's start with the
It is not
definitions. What
again,
is
Oh,
ultimate
wait,
and what
Let
is
us
truth?
let
wait.
me
We are
just
defining
listen to
kwanza,
this.
we are defining kwanza ndio tuone sasa, ndio nikwambie.
Can
You
you
see hata hiyo
define for me
neno,
what an ultimate truth is?
it's a good one.
And how do you use
Okay,
the
yeah,
word
let me.
an before ultimate? That's not proper English. Like something that is ultimate cannot have multiple, like an or
Okay.
You see,
How do we
you see.
define something that how
Let's.
do we define it and what
Let
makes
me,
your
Can I
definition
pull out?
truth in the
let
first
me.
place?
Can I pull out can I pull out an independent definition online, right? Of
Yeah, yeah.
ultimate,
Can
ultimate,
tuokoe.
and yeah, so that we have at least we have
Yeah, yeah.
progress in the
Tukuwe na
discussion.
framework.
Yeah, let's see now. What does the word ultimate mean? Ultimate mean in the context of ultimate truth, so that we move from known to the unknown.
Or maybe to get the description, able search the word absolute.
Hapana, wacha tu stick na hii yenye already tusha step.
It is same, ni same tu lakini sawa.
Ndio nini, ndio tusi escape. In the context of ultimate truth, the word ultimate means final, absolute, so you are right, or that which lies beyond all further division, relativity, or dependence. Let's unfold this both etymologically and philosophically. So, etymology from Latin ultimatus, meaning, so that is where the word ultimate comes from. It means last, final, farthest, brought to an end. This was derived from ultimas, meaning the farthest, the most distant from the root, ultra or beyond. So ultimate literally means that which is beyond everything else. So
Yes.
I think that is enough,
Beyond,
right?
beyond.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that is an enough definition actually.
So that is why I was saying, when we enter into the spectrum of ultimate truth, then that ultimate truth cannot be logical. It must be observable. Why am I saying?
Slowly.
I am saying, for example, we know that when you stand on the ground and jump up, there is the ultimate truth is that you will not go up and disappear. You will come down. That is an ultimate truth. Why? Because we know that there is a force at work that is in
No,
this.
no.
Just
Kingston.
wait, bro. Just wait. There is a force at work that is going to pull you down.
Yeah.
So this is something. This is something observable that even the most stoic and the most casual denier cannot deny. So that fact that when you jump up and you come down, and we can observe that happening without any denials, makes that one an ultimate truth that there is the force of gravity. So
Kingston, I
when
differ.
we say there is the force of gravity, it is not just a concept in our mind. Because if it becomes a concept in our minds, then some people may deny it because concepts are just uh,
Kingston,
stored in the mind. But when we start observing it and see it at work, then nobody can deny it. So I think ultimate truths, most of them, or something is an ultimate truth if it can be an observable fact.
Okay.
Kingston, Kingston.
Yeah.
I beg to differ, Kidogo. You see, by that definition, ultimate truth, there is something I may touch on a point of independence. The fact that unasema ukiruka juu you cannot go up and up, it is not an ultimate truth kwa sababu it is dependent on the conditions kwamba lazima graphic ikue. Unaona, it is actually dependent. It is not ultimate in
Mm,
itself. I stand alone. Unaona, ultimate inamaanisha it is stand alone kwamba it does not depend. Hakuna conditions ati provided kuna gravity. What if hakuna gravity si utaenda up and up? Now, the
I'm
condition,
saying,
it's a
I'm
relative
saying
truth in its
gravity.
sense.
For us to identify, for us to prove the presence of gravity and agree that surely there is gravity, then that agreement that there is gravity is an ultimate truth.
It is
Why?
not, it is a
Because
relative
it
truth kwa
is
sababu there is
no,
a
it's not
point kwa hii
relative
universe
because
yenye.
gravity is not a relative truth. It is an ultimate truth because we can
Can I tell you why it's
observe it.
relative? Can I tell you why it's
Okay, let
relative?
me ask you: is there when you are here on Earth? When you are here on Earth, let us talk of the confines of the Earth. When you are here on Earth, is gravity relative or factual?
Again, you've made a relative thing that when you are here on earth, so that is relativity. It's relativity.
That's what
It's
we are.
relativity in its essence.
When we are talking of
The fact
gravity,
that you've
we are talking
simplified
of.
it to the essence kwamba on earth it's relative. You see, the fact that umesema on
It
earth
can't
inamaanisha
be.
it's a relative
Okay,
truth
yes.
because
what is?
King,
beyond earth there may be another possibility.
Kingston, Kingston, speak
My
fast.
brother,
Kingston, speak fast. And then,
I'm saying,
yeah.
whenever we want to come to the ultimate conclusion of anything, it is only logical that whatever we are coming or whatever we put to the test has observable conclusions, not that conclusions formulated in the mind.
Isn't.
That is what a fact is. For example, I know that if I take a litmus paper and dip it in an acid, are you seeing that? It will turn, the color will turn. So
Kingston,
it means every time I dip a litmus paper in an acid,
It will
there is a
turn.
certain change of color. When I
Yes.
dip it in a base, there is a certain change of color. So when I get out of that experiment, I get out with an absolute truth that when I dip a litmus paper in an acid, the color changes, turns to red, something, or this, the color changes to this.
So,
When I dip it in a base, the color changes to this. When I dip it in something that is neutral, the color remains the same. So when I get out of that experiment, I come out with an ultimate truth that cannot be denied. That's
Kingston,
what I'm saying.
Kingston.
Yeah.
So, yeah, taking you back to what Street Monk has said. So, what can you say is the difference between absolute truth and relative truth within that context? And do you know that relative truth means that something is true within the framework? For example, gravity is a relative truth because it is true within the framework of a physical observation, measurement, and conceptualization. Yet, we were talking about ultimate truth. You must understand the basics before we build on the basics, because you will get lost when we start building on this basic.
When we talk about absolute or ultimate truth, because there is no difference between the two.
There is no
Anything
difference, really.
absolute, there's no difference
there is
between.
a very big difference.
Kingston will
But
not
my
move away
brother,
from
he has
that
just,
point
You
until
see,
we
my
settle.
brother, he
what
has just, wait,
can I throw
street,
where
street is a,
can I
street,
throw a
no, wait,
very
street, wait. Street is a very interesting individual. My brother, can you go back to the definition of ultimate truth? You
Yes,
just read it. I
yes.
think he was not keen, but I heard what you read.
No,
Can you just
let
repeat
me,
it?
yeah,
I'm very keen.
let me read it. So, in the context of ultimate truth, the word ultimate means final, absolute, or that
Thank
which
you. Stop
Goja,
there. Stop there.
no, let's
No,
read the
wait.
whole. No, politicians are the ones who do that. They will
I told you,
they
I
will
told you
take
to read
one.
absolute. Read absolute. Read
Let's
absolute.
no, let's stick with this.
Tusomee absolute.
Let's stick with this. Let me read the full definition. It's just a single sentence. In the context of ultimate truth, the word ultimate means final, absolute, or that which lies beyond all further division, relativity, or dependence. Dependence. Go on.
What I'm trying to tell you, I think, let me put it in this way. Whenever we introduce undeniable facts, we are talking about absolute or ultimate truth.
Where are these
That is
facts?
what
Not
I'm
really.
trying to
Not
say.
really.
Where
Not
do the
really.
facts come from?
Undeniable fact, meaning whoever you go to, whoever you approach with that fact, they can't deny it because the truth is observable. The truth can be.
Bodhisattva.
Eh,
Can I challenge him on one aspect
yeah,
kidogo tu?
Kingston allow him to come
Kingston,
in.
kidogo tu challenge on something kidogo. You see, you've made a very beautiful thing, kwamba whatever the thing you are supposed to confirm, to verify kwamba it's true or not, in whatever sense you're saying, it should be observable. Now I'll tell you how funny your senses, the human senses are, in a sense kwamba they cannot be relied upon. Now, if you take a ruler na uweke kwa maji and you look at it, you will observe kwamba imevunjika. Now, if you take that as a conclusion kwamba ni ukweli imevunjika, you will be up to deceive yourself kwamba you've made an observation kwamba it is true, but it is not. So our senses are susceptible to such funny
No,
illusions.
no, 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 no. That one is a very poor example because first of all, when you dip a ruler in water and see it bends,
The
it is
refraction.
not. It is not about the ruler. You are not studying the ruler.
I'm telling
Because
you, I'm not even.
You are
I'm not
studying
even.
just listen,
refraction.
brother. Just
Siko on the
listen.
point of
That
ruler. I'm in the
ruler.
point of observation.
Wait, brother. The observation is not about the ruler because water
What do you
cannot
observe?
bend a
What do you
ruler.
observe?
You are observing a phenomena known as the refraction
What?
of light. That when
How do you
light
not?
enters water, it is a refraction that you are
I'm
seeing.
asking. I'm asking a very simple thing. What are you observing at that moment?
The
What is the image remade on
refraction
your
of
mind?
light
No,
is
you are
what you
going
are.
to observe
It has
reflection.
nothing to do with
What
the
do you
ruler.
see?
The
What do
ruler
you
is just
see?
an object, my brother. Why are you?
No,
The ruler is just
Kingston,
an
Ni
object.
kama hatupati.
Kingston,
It's
you need
like
to
sasa we are
listen.
going.
Goodness gracious me.
Kingston, you need to listen and respond to the questions by the panelists without dismissing them at face value. Address what he's asking. He's asking, if I may rephrase for him. If you place a ruler in a basin of water, colorless basin of water, fine. You understand and you know the laws of refraction because you've spent time to study the laws of refraction, right? But when you take that to someone else who doesn't know about refraction, immediately are they not going to notice that the ruler is broken before they understand there is anything like refraction? What is going to be the observation at that point?
Wouldn't it be better for that person to ask why that ruler seems broken instead of getting out of there thinking that when you dip a ruler in water it breaks? That one would be somebody who's not complete.
Thank you, host, for helping me. You've actually clarified it correctly. So the
Yes.
first thing is the observation will be the one who observes at honor, or it appears as if it is bent. So the observation at that point, unless backed up by knowledge, ambiguous, this is a refraction. After keep on thinking it is broken, isn't it? An appearance. No, no.
Yes.
So our senses watch the appearances. Now appearance look what tricky. You see, the moment you look at something come a horizon, it appears as if it's closer. The more you go, inaanza kusonga. Now our senses zinafanya your observation, but they are likely inaweza ona vitu haziko. No, there is a chance you see a mirage and you think it is water, but until you are told it's mirage, you think it is water. So the more you get closer, you realize it is not. Now somebody will back up with knowledge akwambia that is not water. It appears to be water. So our senses can see things as they appear. Now, what are they in reality? So it may be whatever tunaona hata we may be seeing a physical world, but in reality, our senses can interpret something which it is not in that way. If you go deeper, you'll realize that in physics unaambiwa
Do you know
nothing is
that you
actually.
cannot speak about reality unless you bring about something known as rationality and then
Not
you know
necessarily. Not necessarily. You
reality,
cannot.
my brother, your reality is not the same as the reality of a madman.
There is no your reality. You see, again, that one becomes challenging because I always say,
Reality
for
cannot
me,
be constant because I'm telling you
it
the way a
is.
madman views the world is different from the way you are viewing the world.
Viewing is a relative thing. It is not an absolute. Viewing is a mode of perception in which you perceive using your senses and your mind.
So
That is
I
not relative. That
that
is
is
not
where
absolute.
I differ with you. That is where I differ with you. Because
Let me tell you,
when you enter
Kingston,
into that
Kingston.
rabbit hole, you will be saying that whatever my eyes are seeing as a let's say whatever my eyes are seeing as a mountain is not in reality a mountain.
It is
It's just
not.
a
That's the
perception
basic
of what.
fact. Let me tell
But
you funny thing.
that one is something
Let me
that
tell
one
you one
cannot
funny
even
thing.
be proved.
Kingston,
What
can
you're
I ask
saying
you something?
doesn't make sense.
Kingston, let me ask you. Let me ask a very simple thing. Have you learned anything about quantum mechanics?
Quantum mechanics, I've learned about
So,
it,
so,
but
so,
let me
so
tell you,
from a level, wait.
quantum
I'm asking a
mechanics,
very simple thing. I'm asking a very simple thing. From the level of quantum mechanics, is a mountain really?
my friend, quantum physics does not
Uh,
deny the presence of a mountain being a mountain. That is not quantum physics, because when
the,
it drives you on that rabbit hole, you will be dealing with illusions.
which one is an illusion? The classical
An
physics
illusion
initially tulikuwa tunafikiria objects are objects.
an illusion is the denial of a fact that appears on you. Meaning, probably you are
Uh,
seeing that fact from a different reality.
Host, I think it is time we move away from this
Yeah, let
because
me.
we are not getting
Yeah,
anywhere. We are
Kingston.
not getting anywhere closer.
Let me ask you,
No, we are not.
Kingston.
I think what you are saying doesn't make sense. That what makes a mountain a mountain? Is it that is it because it was called a mountain, or is it
Let me
that my eyes are seeing it? No, it is because that mountain, that thing you're calling a mountain, is something that is logical.
It is not
Can be
even a thing to begin with. It is not even a thing to begin with. Whatever you see, you may see as if it's a thing, but the deeper you go, you'll realize it is not even a thing.
okay. What is a mountain? Can you describe for me what a mountain is?
Mountain is a name that refers to whatever you think it is.
Many
You see,
small
whatever we see
rocks.
and whatever.
So if I see
But
an
they're not even
elephant
rocks. The deeper
standing
you
there,
go,
if I see
the
an
deeper you
elephant, I
go.
can easily call it a mountain because it's big.
No, you see, you're confusing names with whatever, and we are talking of what makes up a
We
mountain.
name
What is the
something
substrate
because
from which everything is made of?
our logic has accepted this as fact. That's
Is
why
our
we
logic
give
the
it a
confirmation
name.
of truth? Is
It
our
is
logic itself true?
yes, it is because once it
Prove to
is
me that logic is
accepted,
true.
my goodness. I'll prove to you but that logic is true because when I say that you are a man, I know from your voice you are a man. Are you not a man?
Well, is
Isn't
how
it
are you?
logical for
What
me
are
to
you
call
even
you a
driving at?
man?
What if I am
Isn't
not?
it it is logical for me to call you a man
What?
unless you are
I'm
not a man?
asking you. I'm asking a very simple thing. How you see the moment you are unataka to prove kitu or you want to verify something, if you take logic as the pillar, that is one of the things that science do make a problem. They make a stand kwamba the whatever they want to find out as truth, the real measure of what is true is their mind and their senses. Now I ask them a very simple thing. What is the proof that your senses themselves can be used as the measure of truth?
My
You want to
brother,
see.
anything that transcends the senses, the common senses, and it transcends logic is illusional. So you want us
What?
to border on illusion?
It is the other way around. Anything within logic and the senses is an illusion. Beyond it, that is where
No,
the
no,
reality
no,
is.
no, no,
Now
no,
it
no.
gets
I
challenging.
think that is
Host,
where
we come out
that's
with
the
this
divide
ideas.
between me and you.
Yeah,
If you
I get
transcend
it.
logic and fact, you are being illusional. If you transcend logic and fact, you are being illusional.
What
That's
does
a
the word
fact.
transcending mean, according to you, Kingston?
Transcend meaning go beyond. You try to go beyond something that is logical and factual, then you are bordering into illusions.
Let me ask you a simple question, Kingston. Do you know what the word epistemology means?
I've heard of it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I've heard of it.
I would recommend you to go and study and because epistemology is the study of knowledge. It is studying how you know what you know, and that is what the street monkey is trying to tell you, that he's not talking about anything else. He's trying to study how do you know what you know. That is why he has walked you through. I wish he could come back and explain that on for himself. Uh, but I will. Um, Meteorite, do you want to contribute to that? Because I see the street monk has dropped for a bit.
What is the contention? What is the big contention?
The contention is that okay, from where I sit, I think Kingston needs to first of all have a grasp of what is epistemology, because from from where I sit, there are a number of illustrations that have been presented to him. Like, let me just distill what it is about. The observations that you make with your five senses are not enough to conclude that you have perceived the ultimate truth. And we used the example of the ruler. When you place a ruler in a basin of water, and you look at it from like you present it to someone who does not know about refraction, at first they are going to think the ruler is broken. So the street monk used that as an example to prove that you cannot rely on the senses to prove that you have actually perceived the ultimate reality.
And your statement is true, is right.
No,
Yeah, your five senses. I am saying,
yeah, yeah, that is what
I'm
the
I'm
Kingston is
I'm back.
saying.
I'm back. Yeah, I know. I'm backing you up on that idea that your five senses cannot. They are very limited. In fact,
C-
they are easily deceived. In short,
yes. Do
so
you?
in fact, you don't need your five senses to know the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is not known by the basic or the common senses that every human being has.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Now we are getting
Oh,
to
you're
it.
back, Street Monk. Yeah,
Yeah.
could you present your case to Kingston?
you can
Because
continue. You
me,
can
I
continue.
understood what you were saying, but I wish you would uh, explain now to Kingston because I think you had shaky internet. Go on.
You see, the challenge is the only challenge there is Kingston actually believes that the measure of something, so that you confirm whether something is true or not, it should be very reliable to your own senses. And I was pointing to the idea that your senses cannot be reliable. You may be sitting here and hear things which are not even there. You may be looking at something and it is not actually what it appears to be. Now, I will give from a very basic thing the scientific aspect. You may look at this cup and think maybe it's a cup. The deeper you go to science, they will tell you it's not even a cup, it's made of atoms, and atoms are 99% empty space. So whatever you are seeing is not actually whatever it is. Unaona? Now they will tell you in physics kwamba whatever you see as an object is not even an object, it's a vibration in its essence, kwamba it's not as si kitu yenye it's an object as you see. Now our senses tell us, interpret kwamba this is an object and I call this a cup, that's a mountain. Now whatever we see are only appearances, and whatever the basis of that appearance is, it is beyond whatever you can see. Unaona? Now it gets challenging wakati the mind inasema it's a thing in itself kwa sababu it verifies it through the senses, but there is a certain understanding which is not of the senses which will tell you kwamba this one is not a thing in itself, but if you basically rely on your senses you will argue kwamba it's a thing. Now it inakuwa challenging because you cannot interact at with exchange any ideas because you solely believe ni kama classical physics, they actually thought these are things. The deeper science inaenda they realize no, we made a mistake, they are not even things, they are made of yeah. So we begin to change our perspective to realize maybe we have been lied to by our senses. And that is the clear, exact thing. That's the reason as to why we are not getting any accurate things. Whatever we are seeing is only appearances. We are only seeing
A
whatever appears
reflection.
to be. But whatever, yeah, reflection. But whatever the thing is, nobody can say.
Man, straight, you are making no sense. My question to you is very simple, and you have been dancing around that question. Let me try again. Are you a man?
I am not a man. Now you are getting to a
You
very
are not a
personal thing.
man.
I'm not a
No,
man.
wait.
Now
No, you are
let me
not a
answer you.
man.
Let me
Personally,
answer
you are
you.
not a man.
I am
Okay,
not
let
a
me
man.
ask
I
you
am not
again.
speaking
Are
in
you
kingdom.
male? Are you
I am not
male?
male. I am not male. Now
Okay,
I'm
then
becoming strict
I'll
with my
stop the conversation there.
Sawa. Sawa.
yeah.
Cool. And actually, let me tell you guys, the discussion here is actually about epistemology. Epistemology, as per now, I'm borrowing from what we were discussing when we were just the two of us, street monk, and it's good it has expanded. Epistemology is the study of how you know what you know. And how you know what you know, and to study it takes a lot of sincerity and honesty with yourself. You do not need to be honest with me. It is honesty with yourself. And it is not something that you will find in dogma. It is not something that you will find in the best universities, because everything in the world is built on top of the ego of mankind. So you will not be taught how to reason in any religion, be it Buddhism, be it Hinduism, be it Christianity, be it Islam. you will not be taught how to reason and how to know and perceive reality, because you already are born with ego, and you are born in an egoic society, and your ego is nurtured very well from the time you're born, so that you can just become a consumer. You become a consumer of this religion, this spirituality, certain types of products. So you've all our lives we are brought up to be consumers and just to contribute to the bigger, to the collective ego of what we call society. But now moving on from that topic, because it was fine, it was productive for me because I have learned a few things. But how does this ignorance that we are born with and that we grow in become so subtle that we do not recognize that we are living in ignorance, and we just keep multiplying this ignorance? Multiplication, I mean, ignorance becomes multiplied. Like you can see the multiplication in the various religions, where each religion believes they are worshiping the right God, the various branches of science, where each branch of science believes it has discovered the ultimate phenomenon, the behavioral of phenomenons, and many other multiplications, including technology. Basically, everywhere you see any development, it is development of, it is consciousness expressing itself. Only that consciousness expresses itself through human mind. I will start with you, Dreamer. It's not like an academic question. The question could as well spiral into, or spiral or grow into a different topic entirely. Dreamer, welcome. I've not met you before. Welcome here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the panel. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna need you to kind of repeat that
No worries,
question.
no worries. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
we had a discussion here. We had a heated debate where we are discussing ignorance, human ignorance. The question is, how is it that ignorance becomes such a subtle thing in society, that we are born in ignorance, grow in ignorance, die in ignorance, and when you look at our surroundings, everything has just been multiplied using the using ignorance as the engine. So when you look at politics, you will note that it is basically the human mind trying to maneuver through a certain challenge. When you look at science, and I'm not trying to show error, I'm trying to show how human beings we tend to believe that whatever we have discovered, or whatever we have known, or whatever we have glimpsed is the ultimate truth. Yet we are only observing independent of the truth itself. So, like, I'm trying to describe truth while not being in truth. So, basically, creating duality and multiplicity, which we say results in bondage. You don't have to answer in a perfect way. It's just a discussion.
Yeah, no, I love that topic. Okay, so I would start off by saying maybe it's something to do with how they've kind of conditioned us to take in information. Like they have kind of full control of like media, TV, what we learn in school and stuff like that. I guess through like kind of colonization of the whole world, we kind of all go through the same learning process all over the world.
Yeah,
Um, Another thing could probably be like the human ego as well. Like we're not really trying to go outside of like anything else. It's just like I maybe fear too of like not actually knowing. It's kind of scary. Like these ignorant, I guess, ideas of our reality. It just kind of just brings comfort, I would say.
yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of perfect sense because many people are not aware of this conditioning that we go through, and people just keep perpetuating this conditioning, like in their environment to their children. People just go around like using this conditioning to continue the conditioning. Street Monk, I will ask you a very specific question in that context, because we have seen everything unfold here. So how do men and women who would otherwise be very advanced spiritually end up being so rigid? Like we've just seen it right now with my Christian friend. Is it that we need to teach people how to reason first before we can engage in subtle topics, or what what should we do going forward? Because like for me personally, I have reached a stage whereby I'm no longer interested in debating people who do not grasp the fundamentals of philosophy. And basically fundamentals of philosophy is like reasoning, just like from A to B to C to D. What's the way forward? Street Monk.
You see, the biggest challenge actually is the reason, whatever is contributing a large percentage to this ignorance is the fact that the consciousness itself is the ignorance. That you see, it's a thing which people don't accept initially. But you see, the consciousness, which is the appearances, is itself. You see, consciousness is the basis, the mother of all appearances. That itself is the ignorance. The ignorance that there is something else apart from the source. That is the beginning of duality. You see, that which was there initially before everything else was a single state, undivided, indivisible state. Out of that state, its own consciousness, that is the knowledge of its own existence, its duality. You know that? So, out of that consciousness of its own existence, that itself is the mother of duality in all essence. So, this consciousness of its own existence is itself the ignorance. No. It's like you and your name. Now, your name at one point is it refers to you, yes, but it is not you.
True.
I
Even
always use this good
even my
example
profile picture,
that
even
suppose
your
somebody is
even
being
me,
set by
like
the government to address us on certain issue. Now,
yeah.
the person will come and say, "I am the government" at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very true.
Yes.
Very true. We are losing you. Do you have an internet issue, or you have finished? Street Monk. Okay.
Can
Give me
you
a
can you
minute. I'm
ask the
coming back.
question?
Meteorite.
Ask the question again.
Oh,
I had to.
so tulikuwa tunauliza watu huendapaje kukuwa ignorant kama huyo rafiki yangu, like
Okay, okay,
basically you
okay,
cannot just reason, like yani basic reasoning, because to me some of
okay,
these
okay,
things
okay.
are just like what Street Monk explained was like, I wish when I was 15 years I would meet someone explaining to me so clearly. Yet it is impossible are we saying that the spiritual ego, because I consider if someone is
Yes,
as a
it's
Christian, they have a spiritual ego, is it so strong?
you see. Let me break it down from the human perspective first before we go into how the human goes into religion and takes the human nature within into religion and continues with its human nature with the terms or with the language of religion inside it. Is not transformed, is not changed, it's still the same. So, see, the senses, like, uh, and the logic from the which comes from the senses, the common sense, the things now you are asking, like, what is not, does it make logic? What is this? Does it make sense? Does it make sense to call you? Does it not make sense to call you a man or a male? So see, the logic of the senses or the human senses is into two. Like it comes with the knowledge of this is bad, or with the information, or with the salt of this is a good thing, this is a bad thing, right? So the senses in its goal or aim, while it is driving you, is whether you are gaining or you are losing. So this is the mindset everywhere it takes, and the in the world where it takes you is in the form of at, in the form of attaining to be the first. It doesn't want to be the last. Like that is now part comes now. The ego derives itself from. It doesn't want to be uh, it doesn't want to deny itself. See, in the same in the sense that the person cannot listen or be the last one to speak. The person wants to be the first one to speak. See, and
Yeah.
taking from the conclusions of the senses, he takes the information he carries or the person carries
Yeah.
to be the ultimate. Like, because that is the first thought of the first senses, the first understanding from the senses perceiving the environment around, which I said or ilikuwa nimesema
Yeah.
the eyes can be very easily deceived. Ndio maana but if our senses like zile tuko nazo zile common kila mtu ako nazo, if they were so able to perceive the ultimate truth or the absolute truth, no one will deceive another person in the
Very
world. Like
true,
hakuna
very
mtu
true. Wacha
anayekudanganya. Yeah.
nikuklapia, hiyo imenibamba. I wish
See,
Kingston
hakuna
was here,
hakuna mtu
you drop
anayekudeceive.
that statement.
Hakuna mtu anayekudeceive. Like in the world, nobody will deceive you, lie to you. You will have known the truth even before they lie to you.
Eh,
And even
eh,
after they lie to you, you know they are lying, right? You will not have been fooled. Like you will
how
not
do
have gone
they live
later and
with
said, "Oh,
that?
this guy,
How how
how did this guy
how
fool me?"
how do they live? How do
See,
they live with that?
so what's the question?
How do these people
You ask some.
live with the fact that they know that they are lying
Okay,
to
okay, okay.
themselves?
Okay. It's not even about like these senses. They have rewards they give you. Like even like I told you, it wants to defend its position as the number one. It doesn't want to deny itself and bring itself down. The way people say ego, it wants to come up. It doesn't want to retrieve. Like that's even the essence of when it's like in every spirituality, you are told close your, even in every religion, you are told close your eyes, we pray,
Yeah.
or
Meditate.
let your body, your hands and your legs and your body
Yeah.
lie down
Yeah.
in silence
Yeah.
and meditate. So the purpose is to let the senses that are are when you are awake, that are functional,
Yeah.
go to sleep. They're like, you
Yes.
guys, you
Yes.
don't have a purpose here. You guys go to sleep. Then now,
Yeah.
the true or the and by the way,
This is too profound,
uh,
Bwana. Aish.
so
It is too profound. It is too
so
profound. You've just explained what most people
yeah.
struggle to explain when they're talking about
Yes, you
meditation
don't
and
need your
yoga.
eyes. You don't need your eyes to know the truth. When you are told,
Mm.
you shall seek to know God or seek the kingdom of the truth or
Yeah.
seek Jesus or seek the truth or seek the knowledge, which is true as it is knowledge itself. It doesn't change. The thing that doesn't change. Whether you are in what universe or in in this solar system,
Yeah.
so or
Yeah.
in water, in air, in heat,
Yeah.
in land, on land, or air, something like that. So, I I'm almost lost myself. So, uh, you do, yeah, your eyes, the eyes in your on your face
Mm-hmm.
are irrelevant. They need to be put to death. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is when you do not need them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Eish.
need even. It's a distraction actually.
Hey
So
manze, I really love
it doesn't get you anywhere.
I love your discourse. Sijaisikia ukiprovide two
Yeah.
point iko clear because that is the problem that we are facing in the world where people misinterpreted prayer, people misunderstood meditation, people misunderstood yoga, and many all other methods that we know were taught by the ancients. But because it was basically just about shutting the noise, shutting the thought, shutting the mind, shutting the senses, so that you can experience something else that you cannot experience through these senses. Monk, are you back?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back. I wanted to add very quickly on that. You see, I was making actually a very strong and very important point in which people actually do forget immediately at the start. You see, one of the things that it's not easily acceptable, it is the fact that consciousness itself is the ignorance. That is the first point. Now, the ignorance is not a kind of a negative thing in a sense, kwamba you say it's
Mm.
No, it's an ignorance in a sense,
Actually,
kwamba.
it's so funny. I was
Mm.
meditating on that today morning when I was on my walk. Sikuwa nimepata clarity about that, but I have been meditating on it. But go on, I will engage you on that one later. Go on,
You
go on.
see, it is inakujanga hivi out of that state which is absolute, a unified state which is beyond all cognition, it is beyond all perception, it is actually beyond, it's so simple and beyond. Now, out of that state is born its own power of creation or its own power of manifestation, which is consciousness. That is the word which they usually say in the Bible. It is the word that is its own consciousness. Now, this consciousness is ignorant of its source in a sense that that source cannot be known using the methods of consciousness. Consciousness is a tool for external manifestation. Now, on waking up, this consciousness knows that I am there, but it does not know what I am. You see, for the very reason that whatever I am is beyond all cognition. Now, it wakes up in ignorance that I am. That is its knowledge that I am. But now the ignorance is I don't know what I am. Now, out of that state, it gets entangled with things. So it's an ignorant child waking up that an ignorant realization that I am there. No, no.
Yeah.
Now the question comes, what am I? Now that one is beyond comprehension. So
Yeah.
because it wants to function, it gets hold of any identity. It assumes I am the body or I am a person. And out of that, it conducts the activities of the world. But in reality, whatever it is something beyond all description. It cannot be caught hold of. Now, this consciousness itself is the ignorance. It
Yes.
wakes up, but
Yes.
it does not accept its own ignorance. It assumes that it is knowledge.
And that's where people now you see that
Yeah.
they're smart, but they're still holding on to the ignorance. The ego has just taken a new position, a new
Yes.
apparently intellectual or
Knowledge, knowledge
spiritual
actually,
position.
knowledge actually, knowledge actually it is ignorance in another form. You see, it's out of
Mm.
ignorance that knowledge is born. So knowledge is really ignorance. If you look at it, a child comes, the child is ignorant, a very ignorant child.
Yes.
Then after some time, something lies to you that that child who was ignorant has got knowledge. On what foundation? On foundation of ignorance. It is still ignorance. However beautiful it gets, it is still the
Yeah.
ignorant child. It is the ignorant child who is said to have got knowledge. That
Mm.
knowledge is on the foundation of ignorance, so it is still ignorance.
So the ignorance was not extinguished in the first
It
place.
was
It
not,
was
it grew up as
transformed.
knowledge. Yes, into
Uh-huh.
knowledge, which is also ignorance.
Mm.
If you look at it very carefully, it's out of a state of not knowing that knowing comes. Now, this knowing, what is the foundation of this knowing? It is not knowing. So it is ignorance, which has camouflaged into knowledge. So
Mm.
whatever we think is knowledge is actually not knowledge. It is ignorance camouflaging as knowledge. They
Mas-
actually one and the same thing.
it is ignorance masquerading as knowledge.
Exactly. So it comes up and says, I am knowledge, but it is not. It is ignorance. Look at it very carefully. I do ask people a very simple question. 100 years ago, what did me and you know? Then you'll say, I never knew anything. Then I ask you, how did you then come to know something?
Mm-hmm.
That is the illusion. That is the illusion itself. As of now, we actually don't know anything, but we think we know. That is the illusion.
Mm. And that's the most difficult illusion to
Yes, it is the
dismantle,
most
right?
difficult because there is no way which we will speak, there is no way which will communicate, there is no way we'll do anything without that aspect of I think I know. As a matter of fact, it is that ignorance which is speaking now as knowledge. Now, to get rid of it becomes challenging. It becomes a loop. It's like someone robbed somewhere. Then you go report to a police station. Then it's quite unfortunate because whoever robbed was the police. Now you send the police to go look for the one who robbed. You are not going to find anybody.
he
So
has
you are
already
going
he
to
has
have to,
already he has already
yeah,
reported back to the police station very fast after stealing, and you will find them in different
yeah,
clothes.
yeah. So they will be telling you, let us go and look for them. So you will be making trips going around. Finally, you come sit down and ask, what am I doing wrong? Then you'll come to realize whatever you are using to chase it, it is the same thing. That's why the loop never ends. So the real culprit is this consciousness, which is itself ignorance, masquerading
Yes.
as knowledge. Now it will tell you, let us look for something else. Now it will tell you, let us kill something else. But you see, it is itself still defending itself. This knowledge must be realized as ignorance in the first place. That is the only way out of it. Now, for as much as this consciousness believes that it is true, it will forever get in loops, thinking, I need to look for something. I need. The problem is itself. The consciousness does not know anything. It is a child who has assumed things, not knowing. It
Wow.
must look back for its source. Then it will come to realize, to be honest, whatever I think I am not that. I am something which I cannot comprehend. Out of that state, it becomes freed of its own ignorance. And the freedom from ignorance is to know that you don't know. That's a very boundless dimension, an endless possibility, because the moment you know, you've become limited by the knowing. What you know is a name and a form. But when you really don't know, you are boundless. How many things don't you know? You cannot even explain how much, you see, because you don't know is a very boundless dimension. And it's out of that not knowingness that the world is manifested.
Does the
Infinite possibilities, because I don't know. I don't know. What do I not know? It is infinite. I don't know what I don't know. So
infinite
now
possibility?
this consciousness, instead of accepting its possibility, it became entangled in its own illusion that I know. That's the error.
Became entangled in its own illusion.
It's like the other ni kama ile analogy ya dream. Someone dreams and inside the dream anakuwa caught up in the dream because they did not look at the fundamentals of what is a dream and what is itself. No, it did not understand what is a dream and what is itself. So it will think the dream is true for as much as it's appearing until they get the real understanding of what they are in reality. Then they will realize they are the essence and the dream is the appearance. No. And there is no way in which the essence and the appearance will ever meet. The dream is happening in a world which does not exist, and the essence is here, always here, forever and ever. Those things will never ever meet. Whatever is the essence. Whatever appears is the dream. And the appearance does not have any inherent reality. It only appears to be real. So does the world.
Aish. Hey man, hey, you've explained. I wish my friend was here, but you know, these topics are usually so concise and very clear. Yet I find it difficult to understand why people do not grasp. And the language of truth is so simple and direct.
The problem is in the fundamentals of the mind. The way the mind has actually been put to, they have actually set their mind to capture. It's like measuring something and the ruler is calibrated wrongly. Now the the measuring will be okay as a process, but whatever will be captured will not be okay because the calibration of the ruler is a problem. I always do tell people the truth is always here. It's like the sun is always shining. Now you are not opening the door. You are not even looking in the door. You are looking deep down under the bed. Now whose problem is it? You are looking in the wrong direction. The sun is shining. Open the window. Look at the door. Instead of looking at the door, you are looking down there in your own. You're looking under the bed. So you're asking, what is happening? What's happening? Well, nothing is happening. You are only looking in the wrong direction. Now, truth is that simple.
But
It's only that we are interested.
my friend who was here will tell you that the prophet said that you look under the bed, and they will die with that opinion from the Bible.
They actually don't understand the Bible in reality. They actually do put some concepts they say and say, this is it. You see, I always say, okay, I have a friend of mine who actually measured an understanding the Bible, saying it was a coded language. And they say, you see, if there are people who have actually destroyed the Bible and misunderstood it, it's those Christians themselves. Because they do get some funny concepts and pick it out of it literally, whatever the way it is.
Yes.
And now that's in danger. So it's the problem is actually the mind, the way it has. You see, initially the
Yeah.
human mind in the let me use the classical physics aspect. People actually the mind actually used to capture things in form of objects. That this is an object, this is a thing. But after some research, some doing some whatever the physics conducted, came to realize, our first assumption. You see, the mind begins with an assumption, just as a small child always does not know anything, but they begin with an assumption that they know. Now, out of that state, we had assumed that things are objects, but the deeper we went, we came to realize, the problem was in the assumptions, the mechanics of our own mind. This ignorance just assumed something out of nowhere and believed it to be true. After some time, if we are open, come to realize, no, we need to change the way we view. They are not even whatever we are saying. Now, these are the believers and these other guys, they refuse to become open. They said, whatever we assumed in the first place, that is it. Now someone comes and says, no, look at this very carefully. And they will tell you, no. That is not the thing. Now they are stuck with their first point, not understanding. It's all an assumption. The same with our own self. We do believe we know ourselves. That's an assumption. Then you ask somebody, how do you know yourself? What are you even talking about? So you'll come to realize the mind is an illusion. It is ignorance actually. You see, whatever gives this ignorance quality It takes names and forms. No. If I call this a cup, it does not mean it's a cup. I don't know it. I have only said it is
Yeah.
because I don't know. It's because I don't know that I will give it a name so that me and you communicate. So the basis of all names and all forms is that we really don't know what it is, but so that me and you do speak, let us call it this one.
True.
So, so language is born of the idea that we really don't know anything, and out of that we need to make a certain meaning. We need to talk. So, for that reason, we will give them names.
So it is consensus between among mankind,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. But if you go deeper, you'll realize it is not even a cup. The cup is only it's given for communication. Now that is how ignorance it starts. It starts building layers. It thinks because I call it a cup, I have known it. That is false. That is
Mm,
not. That is honesty. You need to accept that you really don't know it. But we have only said that the name is hollow. The name is up. The name is just empty. We have given it for communication.
yeah.
But they won't accept. They will tell you that is knowledge. Naming is not knowledge.
So the ignorant and the fools confuse labels and names for knowledge, right?
Exactly.
And they become so complacent in that they
They
remain
take very
stagnant.
strong platforms and give very strong convictions, and they will beat you up if you deny that. Now you know that's the behavior of a child. You tell a child this is not this one, they will get very angry and want to throw stones at you. Now you understand it and see there is no problem. It's only
And
that this ignorance.
let me ask you something interesting. Is this what causes so much rigidity among the various people I meet here from the various religions? I know, of course, there are people who are in a religion and they're genuinely searching for awakening, but the majority develop a certain kind of rigidity. Like you see that good friend of mine. Ever since I started going live, he's always walking across platforms looking for places where you know the way they argue like it attracts attention and pity. Why is it that people are looking for pity and attention, which is ignorance masquerading as charisma? How did we get there? And okay, personally, I'm coming up with new ways of dealing with such elements, because at the end of the day you realize that somebody was not after genuine learning, like the way I'm acknowledging, like I love how you are expressing the truth, even though I do not, I know it, but I'm gaining a new insight on how to explain it, because I'm listening to you and I'm also relating with my experience. How did we get here to this kind of people?
You see, the beautiful thing is at least here we are a bit lenient. We've had those issues on next, and I've had some co-hosts and hosts who are very, very, and I call them ruthless. Okay, so they do whatever these guys do is you make a mistake and bring those ideas there,
Mm-hmm.
and you seem not to accept whatever is being said or not willing to listen or change
Mm,
your mind. You are going to get it. Now that is, but that's not always my approach. I always use a very systematic and logical approach to ensure that every form of ignorance that someone comes up with, it should be paraded. It should come out for you to be free. But now
yes.
I have some co-hosts and hosts who say, "What is the power of a co-host and host?" Now they will mute everyone else and speak with you direct. They will actually tell you a lot of very dangerous things. They do actually make most of the believers neurotic because now they do say a lot of very dangerous things. But I
Ah,
always it's not the way.
ah,
It's I
ah.
do look at it as a child who does not know. If a child makes a mistake, I am not in a position to say I will beat them because I know whatever they are suffering from is ignorance. It is not that they do wish to do it that way.
Yeah,
It's only
yeah,
that their mind is so clouded with ignorance that
yeah.
they cannot even look at it. But now there comes a moment in which the more you speak to someone, the ignorance is so it is so built up design. It will be something like a shock. You see, the moment you have something like a shock, you a reset in itself.
Yeah.
Those conditions are always there, but it becomes a last option for me when I see they want to parade something, they want to fight something, they're making some attack. You see, they want to parade themselves as it becomes now a very dangerous. But if we're exchanging a very meaningful conversation, then we will go slowly. Ignorance is it's nothing but big. You open the window of the door and the darkness is gone. It's a very simple thing. But
Very
now if
true.
this one wants to fight back, it
Mm,
gets very
I
now you
actually I don't
you
take
get
it kindly when I present a postulation or something that is that is actually like not insulting, and then someone tells me that that is nonsense you're talking, like
Yeah, yeah.
for
You
me
see,
it touches me
always,
at a personal level.
I always don't get triggered so much because I know when we confront each other on one to one,
I
I
know.
know where to get them. I know where to get them. But you see now, that is the you see we always say that aspect of anger and that aspect of sending some very what kind of what do I say? It's a kind of a tool for the ignorance that when
Mm,
it wants to give up, it gets angry and throws some very
mm,
funny insult because it wants to recollect its own position as the greatest. If it
mm,
wants to keep itself up there, so it will think by saying something that is rubbish, I'm going to get triggered for it to be. It has a certain position, but now I don't look at it. That is it's a weapon for the losing ignorance. Gets very angry and throws some rubbish. There was a time I was asking someone and I told them, assume umeenda mahali ukatukiana na mzee. The guy gets very angry now. They have run out of the insults, and you see the next thing they'll say is "watakupiga ngumi," because they say I just cannot lose. If you just beaten me in that, we will go into a physical fight. That is the nature of the ego. It seeks
mm.
protection. Now it thinks insult or maybe saying that is a method to degrade the other one so that it becomes a head. Now that's it gets problematic, uh, but we need to understand because that is the nature of the mind.
Yes.
So this it is okay. Ignorance goes hand in hand with fear. The
Yeah.
moment the ignorant, which does not know something, it gets hold of something which it believes to be its own
Yeah.
or itself. It will seek to protect that by all means.
Let me ask you.
If
Yeah. Let me ask you. Actually, within the line of thought, and if anyone else needs to speak, please do not
you are
wait.
free,
Wait
yeah,
for
you are
you. Wait.
free to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Dreamer and Meteorite. In case you have anything, you can just interrupt anytime. Let me ask you something, Monk. How does ignorance cause fear?
Now,
And why are the ignorant people fearful? Like they are not
this is how
ready.
it
They
happens.
are not
Okay?
ready to withstand scrutiny. They are not.
Let me
Uh,
give you the
they,
best.
they just memorize some steps and some verses and things here
Yes.
and there, and to make them look like they are a
let,
whiz.
let, let, me, let, me,
Just,
let me bring it
just
specifically
uh
slowly how this thing happens. Uh, Out of this state, which is a single state, the single absolute state, comes
Go on.
consciousness, which is consciousness is the knowledge I am. You see,
Yes, yes.
the moment this knowledge I am comes, it is stuck. It says I am. That is the first. It's like you went to sleep during the
Yeah.
night. You
Mm,
waking up, you found yourself maybe on the hand or the leg. You have a boil. Then you become confused. What happened? How did this one come about here? Now you see.
yeah.
So this consciousness initially, me and you did not have that experience. Let's say 100 years ago. Then the moment the body came, this consciousness became aware of itself.
Tukombe.
It got
Yeah.
the identity I am. Now, this I am got confused now through the mind because the mind is the tool to manifest. So through the mind, it asks itself, "What am I?" No, no.
Yeah.
Now, because of ignorance, which is always waiting for that consciousness to wake up,
Mm-hmm.
because of ignorance, the mind says, "I am the body." Now, that is the beginning of ignorance and beginning of fear because something which by essence is infinite, absolute, has assumed a limited identity of a body or you see, the I am instead of remaining true to the source where it has come from, that I am the infinite, absolute truth, it got hold of the body that I am the body because the absolute is not an object, so it did not see it. You see,
Wow. Yes.
whatever it saw is the body, and out of ignorance, it got hold of the body that I am this body. Now, immediately, fear,
Mm.
fear comes in. Fear comes in because fear is a product of the body. Fear is a product of end. No, no. Fear is a
Mm.
product of and end. So
Mm.
immediately, that consciousness got hold of the body and picked the body as its identity. And out of that, immediately, the qualities of the body, that is death, that is
Mm-hmm.
suffering, that is pain, and pleasure, immediately
Mm-hmm.
become married to the consciousness. I always do say, it's like you married a woman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that woman alikuwa na mtoto mdogo who is 2 years. You see,
Yes.
you'll be forced to take care of both the mother and the child, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's your child legally or not. The
Yes.
child will be yours by default, not by that it's inside the child, but
Yeah.
now you'll have to take care of the child. So immediately the consciousness got married with the body. It immediately got the other burden of the body, that is fear, because now the body must be born and dies. It
Yeah.
suffers pain and suffering. It
Yeah.
suffers all kind of things. Now that which was
Mm.
unlimited has become apparently limited. You see,
Wow.
now
Wow.
it seeks expansion. It seeks expansion in all
Mm.
things, acquiring wealth, acquiring, because it has assumed the wrong identity. Out of that fear comes. It wants to protect that identity.
Mm. Wow, interesting. And is this the fear that makes people keep on wanting to accumulate things?
Forever.
Um,
Forever.
what are they
It has
fearing when they are accumulating and possessing things and thinking that that will be make them to be immortal?
It is because they have assumed the wrong identity of the body. So they are seeking to
Mm.
protect this body. So they think that acquiring a lot will guarantee the forever existence of the body, which they think
Mm.
is the identity. You
You
see,
are,
so they think, so they are trying to please that identity by all means, because it's like
yeah.
saying you someone gives you a child and they tell you this was your child, but you actually never knew. Now you see, you will seek to take that thing of the oath to protect the child. Utamfanyia all the best things there is, because now you've been told the child is yours. So you will never want anything bad to happen to the child. No, no. Now it is in the same way that this consciousness picked the body and thought it is his identity. Now it is seeking to protect it by all means, trying to look for the good things for the body, avoiding pain, accumulating a lot to guarantee the forever existence of that. Now that's a contradiction, because that is not the real thing.
Yes. Uh-huh. So people
E- even prayers are born from that idea of you've become limited to become a body. Then you are seeking something more with the aim. I always tell them it's not
mm.
about God, it's about yourself. You've become limited and you want to protect yourself. So you ask for a God who is greater, not with the intention of loving that God, with the intention to protect yourself.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. And this fear, so basically that's why men live in fear, because their body naturally, and as we inherited from our ancestors, because of the survival instincts back in the days many thousands of years ago, because we inherited this body from our ancestors, of course, through birth,
Yeah.
so this fear becomes compounded to an extent whereby, like, someone might have billions, but deep down they have a deep seated fear, because it's basically the body that has inherited its fears and transposed that and projected that on spirit, right? Or soul, or
Yeah, exactly. It's actually the spirit which has become, it has misunderstood. The spirit should take its position as the spirit and see whatever happens between the body and the mind as a play within a movie. So the spirit forgot it and it got entangled with the thing. Now it thinks that the qualities of the body and the mind are its own. It's like just when a dream will happen. The dreamer thinks that those stories are really themselves, no, no, which it is
yes.
not true. Now, the problem is not the body and the mind. That is how they are working. That's how the play happens. The
Mm,
problem is this one, the eye forgot the distinction between what is me and what is that body. What is me and what is that mind. Now it got meddled up in affairs that do not belong to them. Now it is us that become meddled up in the ideas of the body and the mind. And we got hold of it. I always tell people, someone gave you a stone and told you these are diamond, then you will forever keep it in your pocket. And if someone comes and tells you, my friend, that's a stone, you beat them, you won't accept. It is in the same way. The spirit got hold of the body and thought it's a diamond. It thought something very valuable. Now it is being threatened each and every moment.
interesting.
I always tell people, look at it carefully and see if we are in a room, let us say 5 people, and someone's phone got lost, and you took the phone and put it in your pocket. You see, the moment the door is closed and they say everyone who passes here must be searched, you'll get very frightened to begin it, because you
Yeah.
have something which is not yours. You
Yes.
know it is not yours. So it
Yes.
is in the same way that where death comes closer, the mind becomes frightened, because it really knows. You see, that's why it's called
Mm,
ignorance. Deep down,
mm,
it knows, but it does not want to accept. You know, nothing is
mm.
really yours. Also, you know, you've taken something which is not yours. We are like the caretakers. The landlord tells you, or someone, I give someone a car, I tell them, piga my lap now, then you'll bring it later. Then because you saw the beauty of that car, you never want to return. Now, it is quite unfortunate, because the one who will come to collect the car will never spare you. That is the danger. Now you get confused, because you are sure it is not mine and I will have to give it back. But again, the pleasure of holding it does not want me to let it go. But you know how it will end, definitely. So this fear is born of we've got hold of something which is not us and it is not ours. The body is not us. I always tell people, this body, you ate the food here or this earth, and it belongs to this earth, and you'll have to give it back. It's a loan because you ate the food of the earth. You'll give the body back. Thy body is not you. Now the body is not you, and the thoughts and the ideas came with the body. They are not even yours, and they're not you. Give up everything that is not yours and see what you remain with. Now they don't want that because they know what it means.
It's
So
equivalent to
fear
death.
inatokea from that point. Yeah.
Giving
So
up is
fear comes from
equivalent to death.
yeah. So fear comes from that point. This mind assumed it's that now the collections as itself. Now you have someone you believe something which is not yours to be yours, then you, and deep down you know it's not yours. Then you are afraid because the owner will come for it any moment. That's why people are very much afraid. They are collecting more and more because they are sure this one will go. Like
And
it's like acting against yourself.
eh?
Just like acting against yourself. Deep down, if you sit down and be calm, you will know the truth that this is not yours. But the ignorance tells you there is hope. Let us keep on collecting. They may forget. That's how they are saying. Yeah, like it's like that may forget me, man. Yeah, it's an illusion in itself. You know, there were people billions of years ago, and they are no longer there. Now, your ignorance tells you you may stay here forever. Keep on believing. Keep on
Legacy.
believing.
Legacy.
Yeah. Yes.
Legacy.
Keep on. You live your which legacy? 100 billion years. We don't even remember them. Now the ignorance is always there, convincing you of one thing or the other, telling you, "Usiogope, tuende." Like let us look for more. That is how the ignorance lies because it feeds on false narratives, false illusions. Now it will take you in circles. Ultimately, you come to the point and see, "Ata it meant nothing to me, Bwana. What's happened? What's up?" That is the moment you realize I have been tricked. The ignorance wants that game. It's actually this whole thing is actually a game, an entertainment. The consciousness is entertaining itself. It wants to prove to itself that it requires nothing. So it will give you a lot of things, throw them away. Take this, throw them away. They don't mean anything in reality. But the mind now, which is full in ignorance, somebody told them that this stone is a diamond. They will tell you, "Don't tell me that, man. You are abusing. It is you." Now they will tell you that it is you that want to take the diamond. You tell them it is not a diamond. Throw that stone. It's a baggage to you. They will tell you, "No, no, this is a diamond." Then you sit down and ask yourself, if it was a diamond, then why did the person who gave me just give me? They would have actually kept it for themselves to go and sell. You realize, you picked something which is not even. You see, we've picked the value in things which are not there. That is the danger. We by essence, we are so pure as gold. Then we think that if we coat ourselves with maybe something like silver or iron, we'll be more valuable. No, we will lose value because gold is the purest, it is the most valuable thing. If you add silver on top of it or iron, you lose its value. Now we are thinking that if we acquire, our value will increase, but that is not the case. If we acquire a lot of things, we are degrading ourselves, we are losing the purity of our own. So we think that we as gold, if we acquire, we'll be more useful. No, in fact, we will be useless. They will throw it away. So the acquiring is a misunderstanding. We are not limited, we are limitless.
When you tell them that it is not gold, they will pull out a verse for you from the Quran, from the Bible, and from the various scriptures to tell you, the prophet said it is gold. Can't you see the scripture? And they are like,
They have a lot of things to go. You see, now this ignorance builds layers on layers, layers on to protect itself. It will give a lot of things. Now you see its all behaviors become guided by fear. Now that fear it creates a loop. Fear creates a desire. Desire creates the fear of losing whatever you have acquired. Whatever you have acquired creates another desire to acquire more, and the acquiring more creates the fear of losing whatever you have. It becomes a cyclical loop. That's why if you and now unapotea, your voice is actually back there. I don't
oh,
know.
ni nini
Never mind.
nimeweka juu, nilikuwa nakula alafu nasahau kurudisha, but endelea na kusikiza.
Yeah, so you'll see 90% of the people in this world, their behavior is actually driven by fear and desire, which is complete misunderstanding. The fear of pain and the desire for pleasure. So in the fear of pain, they will invent gods. In the desire for pleasure, they will invent gods because their mind is solely motivated on the aspects of desire and fear, the fear of pain and desire for pleasure. So out of that, they will do anything that will, in a certain way, to them appear as if it will guarantee the existence or the perpetual existence of pleasure or the forever dismissance of pain. But it's not in that way. The moment you've married the body and the mind, it is in their nature to always keep on changing. There is no such a thing as permanent pleasure or permanent pain. Those things are they are transitory. You see, the appearances, by the word definition of the appearance, it means it appears and disappears. They have no inherent reality. So the body appears, it will disappear. The mind appears, it will disappear. Everything appears, it will disappear. You will still forever remain. That is the challenge which people don't see. They see themselves as the body. Now, something which does not appear, which is real, assumes that whatever has come. It's like the analogy of the dreamer. Dream ikikuja, the dreamer ana mistake kwamba yeye ni the character in the dream, instead of understanding kwamba yeye ndio huyu amelala. They are the ones sleeping, and
Yeah.
out of their state when wanalala, a dream is projected. Now, as they dream, they are the entire dream. Yani, they are both the kama saizi, if you are, let us say, you are dreaming, alafu una dream kwamba unafukuzwa na simba. So as the dream, wewe ndio mwenye unafukuzwa na wewe pia ndio simba inafukuza huyo jamaa. That is the thing which people don't get it, that as the dream, you are the entire dream, and beyond the dream. So your appearance, sasa appearance yako kwa hii dunia si eti wewe ni msee mmoja. Your appearance is the totality of the dream. Whatever happens, whatever you see within your consciousness is actually yourself. So as the dream, you are the entire dream. No, no. And beyond the dream, you are not the dream. No, no. Now that's why it gets challenging. We think that in the dream we are a single character, but that is not the thing.
True. Very true. Very true. And it explains why people are just lost forever. Like at this rate, we should just give up on mankind. Let me ask you a question in regards to the future. What does the future look like? Um, do you think there will be an increasing number of people who awaken in the future, or will all this technological advancement just lead to further away, being removed from um deliverance, being far removed from self-realization? Will ignorance increase or will it decrease, or is it just a
The,
constant?
the, the most beautiful thing I know about this ignorance and the reality is what fascinates me most is that ignorance itself is a tool for reality. So it is immaterial whatever happens, because in either way truth is even if we go to the depths of, I always tell people, if you think you want to do something which the society maybe considers as evil, if you do it fully, that on itself has a realization. In whatever way you take, you are going there. You see, that is the most beautiful thing of this. Hakuna kupotea, like there is no getting lost in any way, because no one can be further away from it. Even if it is the depth of ignorance, it is still within it. So there is no point in which you see, this self-realization is not a product of anything. So it cannot be hindered by anything, because it is completely independent. So it is not a factor in which it depends on anything. So it is completely unhindered by anything, irrespective of whatever the situation is. It's always there. So it cannot be, see it, kuna kitu ita block.
Okay, so things will remain
Even
as they are. Like people will not become closer to truth given the access that has been provided by technology, by
no,
AI.
in that aspect they
Yeah.
will, because the consciousness is also evolving in a certain way, that the senses are becoming more with okay, the tools of perception, that is the mind and the intellect, are becoming more subtle and more subtle. So in the as a consequence, seeing the reality is a bit closer. I mean, you see, before you could actually tell somebody believe in this and it will be okay, but as of these ages, people have actually have a certain subtle and developed intellect. They want to dissect it and everything. So they will tell you, can you tell me how this belief came about? Now it is because of that introspection and inquiry that truth is a bit closer. We are at least getting more closer, in a sense that our tools are getting more ready. But again, it's a dangerous step, because
Mm-hmm.
the duality is always in between. The
Mm-hmm.
more this one, the more there is a possibility for ignorance. There
Mm-hmm.
is when the possibility of knowledge is highest, so is the possibility of ignorance.
Mm.
They actually don't leave each other. They're always there.
Yes, yes, and actually allow me to contribute to that. I think that technology and AI is just going to increase the gap between the people who become knowledgeable versus those who become ignorant. Because once again, checking on the topic that I have put here. Okay, well, it's a topic from last week. I've not been online on live, but the multiplicity, I see there being increased multiplicity, because I have friends on Reddit and various platforms who I have made online. They ask me to review some papers they are writing, and when I look at the papers, they are they are rich in terms of the jargon, the models inside there, but they are purporting to describe or talk about truth using an AI that themselves they are not supervising if it is hallucinating. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that AI and technology will just amplify what is already there. Ignorance will be amplified, knowledge will be amplified. So if you're, because according to me, I think it takes a lot of sincerity. Even if truth is presented to you on your face in its purest form, it takes a certain level of sincerity to be able to penetrate that truth and to embody it in your life, so that you're not just talking about truth as if it's something separate. Yeah, so at what point time traveler will AI be designed by enlightened ones? Will they ever have the opportunity to own the companies? Like, you must consider um like, we are talking about the AI that is already there, because I do not see any other companies. Oh yeah, but you're right, you're right. Yeah. So if you're talking about now people actually now building on top of AI to remove the hallucination aspect, that's okay and that's awesome. We are talking about the ordinary Tom, Dick, and Harry. The ordinary Tom, Dick, and Harry. Not the way they are weekend person like you, the ordinary, the consumer, these ordinary people, like the ordinary people, like ignorance. I see a situation, yeah, they have no clue. I see a situation where ignorance will be amplified by AI. Amplified because AI can actually tell you what you want to hear, right? Street monk, it can always even help you even hallucinate even more and more, because if you are asleep, then how will the AI help you? Because AI lacks consciousness. Then the
The
meteorite.
funniest,
Go on.
you see, the funniest thing is ignorance will actually never come to an end, because the end of an ignorance actually means there is an end to manifestation, which is not possible. So, but now on an individual basis, on an individual person, that is the ignorance can come to an end on an individual level, on the consciousness, on the, how do I put it? I don't want to use the word individual to refer to a separate person. I want to use individual to mean the individual consciousness. Now it can come to an end on that level, because ignorance is ignorance, and with knowledge, it's like just switching on the light. The darkness just goes forever. But now the darkness will be somewhere else there, because it is always going there. Now everything else is built up on ignorance. So it's a double possibility. It can either this one can happen or this one can happen. Nobody can actually do it, because it depends on whatever weight we take. So they are not very different. It's just a coin. When you flip the coin, you see, it's like that individual aspect. If you flip it this way, it becomes the absolute and manifest. If you flip it this way, it becomes a separate person. Now, on whatever point the coin will land, it can either be a tool for freedom or a tool for bondage. Either way,
Very true. Meteorite, do you have any contribution to that? And especially, you can tell me in the context of the recent alignment of the heavenly bodies, because I think there have been several this year. You might correct
and
me if I'm wrong.
by the way, Bodhisattva, are you one of the, do you deal with astrology and such? I've actually met some good friends who actually, I'm not much of an astrological person. That depth of spirituality, I hope you understand that aspect here. And alignment, CV, celestial bodies, CV, there's a lot. There's those kind. I don't know if you,
I don't
astrology,
I don't know anything. I am very ignorant in that field. Totally, totally,
you've actually
totally.
not met some good guys. I've actually met some very good guys that tell me, oh, numerology, they have a lot of good things for them.
I would,
Speak.
if I meet such people, I will be happy to learn from them. I'm very ignorant when it comes to that field, and I know they are very they are nice truths in there, hidden in there, that I would like to learn.
Yeah, they are very beautiful relative things. Okay, I do say well, how you see the moment a body comes to this at the body and the mind come in unison, and at that moment in which a body is being born or manifested in this world, the consciousness takes something come a screenshot of whatever the appearances of things are happening within the universe. That becomes as the basis, foundational basis of the growth of that ignorance. So, in a way, those astrological and is it those guys have work on a certain thing through the viewing of the celestial bodies and the alignment to Wakutumana with numerology. They have a lot of things. I actually had a full night X session for about nearly 7 hours discussing on such topics. I was just listening to them, but they are relative things which are correct. I mean, relatively, there is a way in which things happen, but if you confuse relative with ultimate, it becomes challenging. Like, yeah.
Actually, you're talking about interconnectedness of things. That's what fools confused for the ultimate reality, because the interconnectedness of things basically means, talks about dependent arising. Like, this one depends on this to arise, this one depends on this, you know.
By
And the
the way, by the way, I think I should introduce the philosophical part of this. Can we a bit discuss on that aspect? There was the discussion was actually about if there exists any absolute independent reality apart from the existence of the universe, and the arguments for and against were provided by various people as to if there is or there is no any other absolute independent existence apart from the universe. And I will want to throw that question to you so that we may look at it in a certain way so that we feel sure about the existence or lack thereof of that existence beyond this physical or the independent reality. Is there any independent reality, or whatever we consider to be reality is only a chain of dependent relations?
there is a part I didn't get you quite well. Because you have like a sort of
Or I was
kitambo,
asking,
kitambo. Yeah.
or I
Uh-huh,
was
yeah.
asking, if we were to speak about reality, would we say that of course, there are two possibilities as of this moment. Kwa ule mse mwenye maybe anaconsider open-minded, just trying to look. There are two possibilities. It's either reality could be a chain of dependent relations. That is the universe. One thing depends on the other, and the other as a
Yes.
whole,
Yes.
or there is the prime mover, like the one that was said by, I don't know, was it Thomas Aquinas or somebody, that the immovable source of all
Immutable.
movement.
Immute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there any prime? Is there any other reality which is beyond this relational reality, as in the absolute independent reality, or reality is merely a chain of relations?
It is both. It is both. It is both of those two you have talked about, because the interdependencies are what we call, um, like form like the waves on an ocean. There is a substratum from which all these interdependencies are reflecting from. It is both at the same time, and that's why many people confuse,
No,
because they want to
it's
come
a
up with a
challenge.
static understanding.
This is the challenge.
Yeah.
A lot of scientists now, wale say you come up with idea, they say
Hmm.
there is no standalone independent reality apart from this chain of relations. Now they will tell you that the universe itself always existed as a chain of relations, and that chain of relations is a whole and does not require any independent, absolute, ultimate reality apart from it.
Then what powers it? What powers it? And then you, it's also
The
good to.
question, the,
Mm-hmm.
the question the question which I found it very complex. Okay, I tried looking. Okay, my experience was different, but I was like, let me try look at whatever these guys are saying. It could mean something, but I came to find a loophole in that idea, because if you tell me that something is a chain of relations, those chain of relations cannot by themselves explain their own existence. Because if you say I
Exactly.
depend on B, B depends on A, then where are we
Exactly.
going? It cannot
Exactly.
explain.
Exactly. That's what I meant. I also believe that there has to be a general direction in which things are going. Otherwise, there would be a lot of confusion in the world. Like there is that unmoving, immutable, just like you explained.
Yeah, that is the thing. So it is only the problem came when that absolute reality, which is unmanifest, cannot be brought about in the empirical way that it can be observed or analyzed, and that's what the
Exactly.
usual.
Exactly. I'm with you there. I'm sorry
That
to
is
interject.
And that is where I do get a problem, because I always do try. Okay, my main point ever and ever when speaking to people is trying to convey that absolute truth in which it cannot be viewed. Now, I do get in trouble because somebody will tell me, then how will I know? I tell them the question itself is wrong. There is no point of how, because you are itself. Now, I do get in trouble because somebody tell me, how do you know? And I tell them there is no question of how. I mean, it's a very strong conviction in itself. It is true in itself that I know that I am, and it is that. You see, it gets very narrow and very subtle. That someone asks you, "How do you know?" And I ask them very simple question. They tell you that somebody has died. What explanation else do you need? That person has died, and that is what it is. Now, the more we get closer to that absolute truth, the more it becomes so singular that it needs no description. The only thing you come closer to it, you say, that is what it is. It cannot now, the mind usually wants to say, then tell me what it is. Now I tell them, hey, we are now getting in trouble because what it is a language of consciousness. You want to see an object or an image. Now that one is not an object and it is not an image. But it again, it is not even that it is something else. It is you. Now that's what gets more dangerous.
And this is why the Western religions, the Abrahamic religions, and the Western thought systems, this is why they have been so successful in the world, because they offer something to mankind that is tangible. Mankind wants to see something that is tangible. That is why when you meet a woman, when you meet a lady in the streets, and you can see her figure, you can see her beauty, like you want to have her because it's something that you can see, and your body even reacts, it even starts fantasizing. Human beings, it appears that human beings inherently want something that it is easy to acquire, something that you can feel, touch. So that, I think that's why the religions, especially in the West, have been become so
And you are getting
successful.
lost bana. You're getting lost, tunaongea ni kama huko nyuma, or maybe
Oh,
ni
ay, 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 pole banze. Oh, pole. Nilikuwa nasema that's why human beings, that's why the Abrahamic religions, the religions and thought systems from the West, that's why they have been so successful for the last 3,000 years, because they offer mankind something that is
yeah,
tangible, something that is tangible. Man always wants to, how can I know? How can I prove? How can I be sure?
yeah.
You see?
Yeah, you see, we made a problem. The man nakwambia how we ignorance. We made a problem within our minds that we tunasema the only measure of something ndio ikuwe true is we should actually check it from our senses yetu. At the senses yetu ndio kuwa measure ya something to be true. But you see, hiyo kitu ni challenging by itself, because we've made our minds in a sense kwamba ndio to verify kwamba something is true. Well, how do I know now? So I was with somebody juzi akaniambia, prove to me that God exists. Nikamauliza a very simple question, what proof do you want? Ndio tukue specific, nini unataka kuona? You'll realize people want a proof of something. Now I give you proof in a kaja. I ask them, now what if I was asking them, they say Jesus will come. I ask them, what if Ashakuda? Because there is a tendency, you don't know what you're speaking about. So somebody will tell you Jesus will come, and I ask him, how do you know? Maybe he has come back. I ask them first, Jesus Christ, is he the one on the image? Wakaniambia, no, that's not an image. That image was done. I asked them, what if Jesus has come and you don't know? Because it is in the tendency of ignorance to assume that it's not something which it does not. I asked them, what if ashakuja? Haunajuaje? Because now we're doing. So you are saying atakuja, na kama ashakuja. Now I got in trouble and I asked them, You see, you want a proof of something, and you don't know what kind of proof will satisfy you. Even if you're offered hata ile ndogo, you won't accept that proof. Hata ile proof kidogo unaambiwa. Now I ask them, mimi nakwambia I am the proof itself. Wewe unasema hapana. Now I'm asking you, what proof do you want?
Ay, bwana. It's a rabbit hole because these guys they already come with something. They have already visualized how the truth is supposed to appear. So
Yeah, exactly.
you have to fit your the truth you're trying
Uh,
to explain to them in the box or the skeleton that they have created so that it can
they've
make
created
sense.
something within themselves and they say they want it to fit. Now I ask them, can you tell me if you want to know if God exists, what is the proof? You want to see, so the measure is your eyes. Now you are being told that in this aspect, we are talking of something which is beyond cognition, is everywhere. Now, what do you want to see? Let me ask you a very simple thing. What exactly do you want to see? You want to see white light, or what do you really want to see? You'll come to realize people want to use their senses as now your senses can take whatever they can take. They can see stones, trees, and whatever. Now, I always ask people, we have the word infinity. Infinity is an idea, it's a word. Can you capture infinity within your mind? Tell me
No.
what infinity is. You'll see you cannot, you have only the name. Now, what about that which is the source of infinity? What do you want to capture it with? What do you want to use to capture? If you cannot capture infinity by itself, you have only the name. The deeper we go, we'll have only labels. We have a name, we say infinity. But now, infinity, what is infinity? It cannot even be talked about. You cannot even bring it to this level. Now, what about the
God.
source of infinity?
True.
What about that? So, what do you want? What is it that? So, you are coming with a cup, you want to take the whole ocean. Now,
Fit.
that is the trap.
You want the ocean to
Yeah.
fit in a cup.
Yeah.
Hey, what a profound example, analogy. I've never thought
So,
about
so
that.
So to know the ultimate truth, actually, it's a counterintuitive way. It is the opposite of the usual way of knowing. To know it is to know that you don't know. Now, this one is a very challenging. It appears very contradictory, and I get in trouble with people. That's why I do write a lot of multiple poems because of the contradictions that do come about with this. The actually knowing of it is not knowing in the usual sense that unakuja ku point out that it is this one. No, it is coming to know that you actually cannot know it.
Mm,
It is not a negative not knowing that you cannot know it negatively. It is you cannot know it for you are already it. Now it brings to a point where it is singular in which the fact that you know yourself is a proof that you know it. Not in an object subject sense that you no, it is because you are. I ask people, how do you know you exist? Were you told no? Did your parent tell you no? What you know, who told you no? That the way you know that is the way you know the other one. It is so direct that it does not need any how or why.
or intellectualization. It does not intellectualization that you exist.
It does not. It does not. Now somebody want to intellectualize. I tell you are infinite. You see, I tell them you are not even born. The problem comes when you think you are a body, but you are not even born. Then you ask me how. What do you mean how? What how? What do what that question itself defeats itself. It's only that you've seen yourself to be something you're not. It's like come your analogy. You tell somebody this one is sweet, and they tell you how is it sweet, and you tell them I have a challenge. You test it, and then you tell me what sweet actually is. Now that is how deep reality comes. The reality we are going to deal with, we are going the deeper levels. It becomes an experiential and strictly singular that I have no way to convey.
Very true, because you cannot use conceptualization to explain that which is beyond, which is non-conceptual. Yeah, I think you are on a call. Hey, thank you so much for the conversation. Yeah, so I was saying that we cannot use the conceptual to demystify the non-conceptual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then you see now the problem comes when whatever we want to use as the measure of verification to confirm that truth is whatever cannot be used. Now, whatever people always relied on is the senses, the mind, now, and maybe the intellect. But now, the fact of the existence of the mind, the intellect, and the body is a proof enough of the existence of consciousness. I mean, somebody proves to me that consciousness does not it is always there. Then I tell you, everything is its proof for the very fact that it cannot be proven. It is itself that proves everything.
Yeah,
Because How can you speak of a world if there is no consciousness? You cannot speak of a world. So consciousness is the proof of everything. It actually itself that proves everything else. You see, so you cannot prove again the proving itself. How do you prove? It's like saying you see the act of seeing. How
Or
the fact that you see
yeah,
clearly confirms that you are the seer.
yes,
You don't need to verify. But I ask people by default, you know that you know. How do you know? It is because you are the knower,
very true.
and you don't need the aspect of how do I know I'm the knower. You cannot question your own existence. What am I even there? The fact that you're questioning is a proof that you're always there. If you ask, am I there? Do I exist? That itself is the proof. Now this thing is so subtle. It evades every kind of explanation. It is so okay. The fact that it cannot be proven is for the very reason that it is so subtle and so direct that it needs no proving. It's so open, like it cannot be proven because it is so direct. Now language will throw you in loops.
True. And that is the games that mankind likes to play on himself, it seems. And I like it when you say that ignorance is basically consciousness. And I was meditating on that earlier today in the morning when I was on a walk. When you see all different kinds of people. You see Masais, people who have not stepped into a school, but they are flourishing in business, in the cattle business. You meet a madman who knows how to move away so that a vehicle can pass, so that they are not hit by the vehicle. It is basically various levels of consciousness. You meet a cow, it knows how to graze, it knows where to graze, it knows to go back to its homestead. It is basically consciousness. Like human beings um,
You
are
see,
made of the matter
let, let
of
me let me
consciousness.
let me show you
Yeah, just sorry about
how
that. Sorry about that. Go on.
can you see how consciousness is actually ignorance? It is this way. You see, initially there is one singular state in which the consciousness is not even there. Consciousness means I am there and I know I am there. You see, that itself is the ignorance because the knowledge, my knowledge of my own self is not me. It has created a duality. Now, whatever created duality is this consciousness of its own existence. So that itself is the ignorance because it has created an apparent reality. Kwamba, it's like we have become two. So consciousness itself is the ignorance waking up from the reality. But it's not ignorance in a very bad sense. It's an ignorance that is as a power to manifest because you cannot manifest from reality unless you assume to be something. We cannot actually, it's a single phenomenon in which we can only speak about it in a phenomenal state. You see, so we take an apparent reality akin to a dream, then we talk about it. But you see, we are not even outside it. The dream is happening within it. So this consciousness is the dream which wakes up from reality
Yeah.
in attempt to, it's actually a worship or a praise of that reality itself. It's
Yeah.
like you and your power. So reality, its power is consciousness, which is ignorance. So this ignorance praises this existence. Unaona, inakuja kama dream with attempt to praise, unaona, this one. Inang'ang'ana it is its own power of creation. So this consciousness is ignorance because it forgets the home, then it goes create outside there.
Mm.
But in whatever way it's outside, it's not even outside. It is still within it. It's like a dream. A dream, it's of your own, but projecting externally. So the dream is within you, but it projects things to you as if from outside.
So it is are we saying, is it the house builder, this consciousness, because it goes around the world trying to create empires in whatever small ways, and then it starts looking for itself as knowledge. But
Yeah, that is its play. That is its play.
awesome. I have enjoyed every bit of the conversation we had, and I hope we can catch up again. Um, I, because these are my favorite topics, and I'm of the idea that we should keep speaking about these things, and people from
And
all places should keep.
just to clarify,
Yeah.
um, this question you've put it up here: how does ignorance project an illusory world of multiplicity and bondage?
Hmm.
What the answer could be of this question is that. we need to underline the word illusory. So by illusory, it means it does not exist. So the question itself becomes wrong because it assumes that whatever the illusory world is has become real. Now there is no question of how ignorance appears because the ignorance is not real. It's like saying there is a mirage there and it appears to be water. Then you ask how did it appear to be water? Now the question is the answer actually becomes it's a wrong question because it is not even water to begin with. We use this analogy that say there is a rope which appears to be a snake. Then somebody asks, how did that rope appear to be a snake? And we tell you, you are again on ignorance because it's not a snake, it's a rope. You see, so if you say that it appears to be a snake, it means you've again that itself is the illusion. So any question relating to the illusion cannot be asked for the very reason that it is an illusion. So any question is false. It assumes it is true. Now that is where the challenge comes. Tell me why, if the reality is single and absolute, then tell me why there is multiplicity. And you tell them there is no multiplicity. It's like a dream, and you tell me why that dream appeared. And I tell you that dream is not even true. It does not exist. So why are you asking about it? The fact of asking about it clearly indicates that you think it is true. If
Yeah.
something is a dream, it is to be dismissed as a dream. It is not true. Now, ignorance, by definition, it means that there is lack of knowledge. It's like saying, how did darkness come about? It is not a thing in itself, so it does not exist. Now, it's a very challenging thing I do face with people because they are much convinced about the world and they tell you, can you tell me, I use the analogy to a ruler. You put a ruler in water, alafu inakapia bent. Then somebody tell you, mbona hiyo ruler imevunjika? You tell them it haijavunjika. Then they tell you, mbona inakaa imevunjika? And you insist, you tell them haijavunjika. Whatever you are seeing is only a perception kwamba inakaa hivi, but haijakaa hivyo. So in the same way, we think hii kitu ni ukweli, but it is not true. So tutashinda tuulize, how does ignorance come? And we say, no, it does not come because it does not, does it even exist? So msi anauliza, hiyo rula ilivunjika aje? Wanamwambia haijavunjika. You are only seeing things which are not there. So the ignorance does not exist. It's a challenging thing. Now, ni double because it does not exist.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting
No, no,
contradictory, but
no. I like
let me
that.
put it.
I like that. I like that.
Let me put it. Ignorance equal on two levels.
Yeah.
It exists, but it does not exist. Now, I'll give you an analogy. It is one of the things that people do get wanaanza kustuka each and every time we do speak in expresses and they tell me you are contradicting. I tell them, no, wait, listen carefully how I do put it. It does not wholly, it is not all that it does not, see it totally it does not exist. And see it totally it exists. I give them this analogy and tell them,
Yeah.
suppose there is a person, we are in maybe somewhere else, and the government sends a person,
Yeah.
let us use the president of the country, aende outside country. Then aende hapo mahali ameenda, in that conference, they are given platforms, and in every platform mahali anafaa kukaa the place they are supposed to sit on, imewekwa a flag. Now,
Yeah.
if they say Kenya or they say Uganda, Kenya, the president, si Ruto ndio ataenda pale.
Yeah.
Now, at that moment, Ruto is Kenya, si ndio, at that moment.
Yeah.
But yeye si Kenya in reality.
True.
Kenya is a whole itself, but yeye ana represent Kenya. So
True.
in that platform, if they say Kenya, he will be the one to take that platform. So at that moment, yeye ndio Kenya, si ndio?
Yeah.
But in reality, yeye sio Kenya. Unaona?
Kweli.
So in that manner, hii sasa ignorance as itself, unaona, as itself does not exist as itself.
Yeah. But it
But
represents
as reality,
a certain
yeah,
absence.
as reality, it exists. Ni kama wewe na your shadow does not, it's not a thing in itself, sindio? But
Yes.
when as a representation of you, it gets an apparent reality, it becomes real, sindio?
Yes.
I'ma use the analogy of your name. Your name is not you. Your
True.
name is not you, but your name is also you. On
Yeah.
one level, your name is also you. They
Very
will say,
true.
where is that guy? If they use the name, they mean you. But on the realest level, your name is not you. But again, your name is you. Now, that's what ignorance is. On one level, it is true. On one level, it is not true. Now, it becomes very challenging for the usual mind. Kwa sababu anasema, iko ama iko bwana. Can you simplify those things? Naambiwa you want reality to fit into your logical box kwamba it's either yes or no, but sio hivyo. Now it's something else. It is not even true and it is not false. On one level it is true because it represents reality on this level. So it iko kitu inaitwa apparent reality.
Yeah.
But to reality itself, it does not
And then
exist as itself.
You are right, very right. So the various contextual layers. So you understand when I asked that there is some context to it. Of course, I know ignorance does not exist, and I know we were always enlightened, only that we forgot. It is the
Yeah, yeah. That
primordial
is the
state.
closest to which you can tell people.
Yeah, it is the
That's the
primordial
closest
state.
which you can tell someone who. But again, the deeper you go, you realize you've not actually even forgotten because forgetting is impossible. Hii kitu you kuanga very challenging wakati inakuwa faced na the logical mind because yeah, yeah. So it comes a time where it will rubbish out the entire enlightenment because you'll come to realize
Yeah.
the enlightenment is also bogus. Like okay, that's I always do speak
No, I know
about
what you
it,
mean.
but it's a very
I know.
it's a very deeper level kwamba there is actually no enlightenment. I
I
always
know.
I do make fun of people sometimes and I tell them don't ever at any point come to say you have become enlightened because if you think you are enlightened you are in the illusion for the very reason that there is nothing else, there is no enlightenment to happen for very reason kwa sababu it is already whatever it is. So who gets enlightenment and how? Reality is whatever is forever and ever. Now people say again you have been speaking of enlightenment some few minutes now you again said it does not exist and I tell them the
Yeah.
last thing you'll have to give up is this enlightenment thing because enlightenment assumes there have been two in which something or the other has happened. But you've always been that. There is no question of being enlightened. Enlightened to what? Whatever you are so simply and that. But someone will come now. Ego has developed some funny things, and they will come and say, "I have become enlightened," and I tell them, never ever say that. If you say you're enlightened, you are in the illusion because who's that I who gets enlightened?
The choice to identify as the internal I over the living logos, the essence of ignorance. Could you respond to that comment by a time traveler, and then we can close
Yeah.
and catch up? Next time
The,
we can discuss emptiness of phenomena, because when someone says they are enlightened, and if they do not say they are enlightened, or when they say they are unenlightened, I would like us to discuss in the next catch up on the emptiness of all phenomena and what this means in terms of when someone says they are enlightened, and when they say they do not say at all. For example, if the Buddha, so you're saying if because the Buddha proclaimed himself to be Buddha, to be fully enlightened, to be perfectly enlightened, you are saying he was wrong. It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to respond because we shall discuss emptiness
you
of
see,
phenomena next time.
You see, it actually depends on how whatever the aspect of I am enlightened comes about. Because you see the moment you see something, you know how this one comes about.
Yeah.
Because the Buddha himself one at the title I. For himself, he never had the title I. So at that state of whatever you call enlightenment or awareness, there is no one who has become enlightened. Enlightenment become awareness. There is nobody who is aware. It is awareness itself. It's not that there is an I. Your I in ego itself mwenye anataka kuclaim. Now, enlightenment and awareness cannot be claimed. There is no I at that. It's like saying what happens when we die. You see, the moment the I is no longer there, whatever exists in that point is itself awareness. You see, that's why Buddhism came with the idea of no self, no self and nirvana. Those things. Now, in nirvana, there is no one. See,
Yeah.
nirvana is a state. See,
Yeah.
unasema I am
I,
nirvana. No, yeah, you see. So
yes.
it becomes a state in which you are not there. When the moment you are not there, you cannot again come to claim that I have become enlightened. You see, Buddha was told, "What did you see?" And the guy said, "I saw nothing." He said, "Easy. There is nothing for which I have to tell you." Now, later on, because he understood the level of the people asking him and coming with questions, he had to step down to their own level to help them understand. That's why, as a conviction, he could actually stay and say, "I am enlightened," because the conviction is not an egoistic thing, it's something to help those people understand, to give them a certain conviction. But it did not come from a point and say, "I've become enlightened." It's only because you took the place of teaching. Now, the moment of teaching, you'll have to use I, you'll have to speak. Now, that's where the conviction comes about. But in reality, it was sunyata, emptiness, or something. So the moment you are there, then there is no self at that point. So you will know what the I am enlightened comes from. A lot of there is ego full. You'll find them in these spiritual things. They will
Yeah.
tell you, "I awakened." You look at it and say, these are jokes. There is the fact that you think there is I which became enlightened. That itself is the illusion. Unless somebody has seen in reality what I am enlightened really means, then it will be another challenging thing. But I think time traveler has actually put the very correct aspect. The choice of identifying as the internal lie over the living logos. Yeah, the essence of ignorance. Yeah. You see, the moment you identify with the lie, the internal lie, that is I have become something else from reality. You get
Mm-hmm.
your own apparent identity of I, and that I is itself the ignorance. The entire session becomes ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
You see, but the
Mm-hmm.
moment you leave out whatever they considers to be the logos, then there is no I because you've been consumed by the entire existence of the logos. So there is no you to say, I have seen this, I have awakened, I have known this, because who is you again? It's like saying uh, the consciousness is universal. Then who are you? There is no you. So there is no point in which you have to claim anything that you've become enlightened. How? Unless you identify with the eternal lie, then
Mm-hmm.
you take a separate identity and say, I have. Who is I? I is everyone. I is everything. So that
Yes.
everything cannot be enlightened. It cannot claim any enlightenment. The same way only a limited entity will claim things. The moment you go to sleep, are you enlightened? Are you a Buddha? Are you
You
anybody? It's
forget.
irrelevant. Yeah, because at that level, there is no I, there is no you. We become dissolved in a certain unity of oneness. Now, at that point, will you say you are enlightened? You cannot, for the very reason that you are truly enlightened at that point. Now, it's
Mm-hmm.
only that you don't know.
Very true.
So it's a challenging thing. Yeah, it's a challenging thing that there is also a big. The ego actually transferred from what they call they call materialism
Mm-hmm.
to what they put in a very beautiful description of spirituality. But it is the same ego playing the same games.
True. I agree. 100%.
Yeah, so I do get in trouble with some very weird spiritual guys who come and claim things. They say they are spiritual. I'm always
I'm losing you. You are
I'm
always.
always on a very tight spot with ignorance. The moment I see ignorance, I'm always there. Like it is for me. I don't accept either of them because for me, I know how foolish I am to myself. And also, you should not claim to be wise because I know how foolish I am. So do I know how foolish you are? So I will expose the entire thing, the entire ignorance in your own mind because I know how ignorant my mind is. So it's something I'm proud of that I really don't know anything. But you do claim you know, and I will force you to accept that you really don't know,
Very
which
true.
is a freedom in our own sense. Yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
we accept our own ignorance, that is actually knowledge. That is
Mm,
a realization that we've realized how foolish we have been the whole time. Just lying to ourselves that we are something else, that we know something. In reality, we really don't know. That is realization. Realization is actually to realize how foolish you have been the entire time, thinking you know, but you really don't know. Now people will come and tell you, I know, I have realized something, I have awakened to something. That is what I'm waiting for. That one is what I'm waiting for. We should go home later on without that sense of you've achieved something. Actually, realization is not achieving anything. It's to realize that there is actually nothing to achieve. So
yeah.
people will come with experiences. They will tell you, I experienced something. I tell them,
Yeah.
wait and see. You think you've got something, wait and see. You sat somewhere and you saw God said, you think, maybe I've seen it. Wait and see. Give it time and see. You'll realize whatever you've actually caught, illusions are taking you in loops.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, thank you. I could actually chat with you like for hours. We can catch up later or tomorrow. But thank you so much for that discourse. It was very, very illuminating. If you allow me, I will download the that part where we were discussing important things, and I could share that. So thank you so much. Very much appreciated, man. That's very educative.
But I think it has become I don't know what actually is the problem because human beings tend to with the usual mind, the dual mind, they will come on guys and say that these are spiritual something. They create platforms, they will create a certain organization, they will just create very funny things because they actually deceive themselves. Now they will go on deceiving people everywhere, telling them they've actually found something. I will give you something. They lie to people. It becomes a whole lot of religion like the other things. Now people lie to you. They tell you spirituality is maybe going there, looking at something, going there, wearing those crystals, wearing those things. They
Anunnaki,
will
I
tell you
don't
a
know
lot
what.
of things, man. And then I ask them, now you've got all those experiences. You can do whatever you can do. You can bend the skies. You can bend your spoon. So what? So what? You've again got yourself in loops, which instead of liberation, you've got into madness. Now they'll come to me and praise themselves. How I can be able to read minds. I tell them, what are you even saying? That's another child play. You've become caught up in something, and you think, maybe I've got something useful. Yeah, you're all useless. You may think that you've actually seen something, you can read people's minds. So that what is even that? That's the deepest waters of ignorance, and you won't get out of it because you think you've actually seen something. You can read people's minds, you can do some telepathy, and you think it is something which is worthwhile. You'll
Yes.
see. That's the kind of spirituality these guys actually want. They will tell you, tell us how to fly, tell us how
Astro
you can do it. Now,
project.
astral project, they will tell you some funny things, and they will. You see, that's how ignorance comes. And you think now, because you've astral projected, are you free from fear? What have you seen? And do you know yourself? Do you now know yourself? You'll realize they're only playing with tricks. It's another magic tricks like the other ones. And they are not going to free you in any way. You sit down and say, hey, do I even know myself? You don't. You can only parade your own skills, and death comes the next moment. You cannot tell it that I can astral project. It cannot listen.
I hope I can catch you later. Probably in the evening. But if I don't catch you, if I don't come online, I will definitely. I make an effort of going live at least once per day. But if I skip one day, then definitely the next day I will be live. Thank you so much. I know we can discuss this forever because nature or reality is quantum in nature. It's not something that you can exhaust because the truth
Yes,
is just
it is just,
everywhere. And
yeah. Yeah, we just go and keep on unlocking our own levels of ignorance. We laugh at ourselves. There is no problem in that as long as we are humble enough to accept the depth. I told you our ignorance is it is infinite. So we go and keep on unlocking our ignorance forever and ever. There is no problem. But when somebody comes and argue that the ignorance is knowledge, now we are in trouble. We won't actually. It will be a fight. But when we acknowledge our own ignorance, we see how we've actually lied to ourselves and how we pretend to know things we don't.
true.
And I think time travel next time you'll have to join us and say something. One or
Yes,
two.
yes. Wesley, you will join us next time. You will tell me something about AI.
Yeah, by the way, I was reading the comments and you are speaking of AI.
Yeah, I
Also,
appreciate.
that I'm also getting caught up in something. There's something I want to do. Actually, we do have those X spaces. We do have them majorly at night, very late in the night. It's
Oh.
a session we do have.
Mm-hmm.
The moment we do begin, people start with some few conspiracies or AI and such sort
Ah,
vaccines. Then the deeper we go,
so you can always
at
send me
around
invites
yeah, yeah. At
whenever
around
you.
2 a.m., we are always a few people who can actually accept the fact that the world is an illusion. Because in the beginning of the conversation, people actually believe the world is true, so they are very much afraid of the economy. That's how it begins. The deeper we go at around 2 a.m., now it has been the fewest who can actually comprehend
Mm.
the idea that all we have been talking of is false. But that's how it is. We do speak on very many.
You can always forward
Yeah.
me. That's my WhatsApp number. You can forward me on WhatsApp because for WhatsApp is just very direct and very easy to forward anything from Twitter,
Yeah, I
wherever,
will.
and
Yeah, I will.
it's and if I'm online, I will see that instantly because
And you tell your friend, the other friend of yours to be open. You see, by the way, how many religions have you actually checked?
like 5, 6, or 7, the major
Oh,
ones I
that's
have
good.
checked. I have checked all the major ones.
Yeah, well, I spent my entire time free time looking at whatever. I was like, you see, these guys are not foolish. They must be up to something. But you see, you tell a Christian that you can read this Quran. I always wonder what is the problem with these guys. Why does somebody actually stick on to their own to a sense that you tell them, can you look? That one don't even. I was like, hey, what's happening, man? They cannot even read. Then they throw some. I don't know. Is it are they guilt traps? They tell you, you may just God forgive you. You see, they are telling you, yeah, like, what's happening, man? What's happening, man?
Those are the last kicks of a dying ego.
Yeah, dying also. Okay, something happened actually, a very funny thing. And I was seated somewhere on a weekend with some guys, and there are these guys, the religious guys, they are looking for maybe followers. They want to convert people to their religion. And I was
Yeah,
seated there.
the Jehovah
And
Witness guys. I see them all over.
there are some few guys, they came with their own Bibles and they were like, can we talk to you about something? I told them, you are very much welcome. I promise you, you won't get out of here. Eh? The same way you came. It's either it is me who will come with you or you will come with me.
what?
Finally,
Eh,
yeah. we must come to an agreement. Now you will come to realize the majority of the people are very ignorant. They actually do pick stories from something and believe it is as true, and they come armed with those things. But now, for a person who knows, that is a very simple thing. So the ignorance can be shattered in pieces. Very, I could actually interpret the Bible more than they could, and I was telling them, you see, you actually misunderstood the Bible. You didn't
Yeah.
get it. Now there are two things. The honest one will accept. The dishonest one will get frustrated and go
Mm.
and run away. I've never seen them since that day till now. You see, I don't actually argue. I do give them very procedural steps and I tell them verify, confirm. There is no problem in anything I say. Now let us go. Let us verify slow by slow. You'll see with time. The moment ignorance makes a mistake to stay, that is the moment you get destroyed. The best way it always protects itself is to disappear. The best
Disappearance.
way. It
Mm.
always seeks you. It escapes because it knows the danger. Now I've met the majority, and the only way that happens is they do run away because it deep down in its heart, it knows what I'm going to, whatever is going to befall me. I know what it is. It is getting very dangerous. Now they either run away, but I find some few guys who are open-minded. We need to talk about. Also met some Muslim guys.
Yeah.
I actually read a lot of Buddhism this time. I was like, man, this you see, we're all humans and you couldn't be foolish. The guy who wrote this, he must be onto something. It's not that I'm
Yeah.
telling a story.
Definitely.
He must have
Definitely.
seen something. Yeah. I
Yeah.
cannot just ignore him. He must have seen something. Let me
True.
go look and
True.
see what is this guy saying. So I looked at the Buddhism as a few. I read a lot. Went to Hindu. I went to Islam. Went to Jainism. I could read just. I could just wanted to see why did this guy say this?
How old are you and how long have you been on the path?
I'm very young. I'm around 20. Around 24.
What? Okay.
Yeah, very around 24.
Wow, that's interesting. Also, yeah, it rings a bell. Like, also when I was 24, I was consuming knowledge, everything that was around me, like no man's business. So I can relate.
Yeah,
Actually, there is something I was shown a book by my friend this last week, and I read something profound that said that yeah, it's okay, Vine. It is said that unless a man has really started searching for wisdom, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, Wesley. We're actually just laughing, wrapping things up. We shall catch up next time. Thanks for the support. So this is what it is said: that a genuine man starts his journey to seek wisdom in his early 20s, and the other type starts being cunning at such an early age. So it's a journey that someone it took you until 40. But of course, you had the seed. The sincerity was in you, Wesley. Most of the times, someone starts this journey early on, even though you're not aware of. I know your generation. Monk is lucky because the devices are all over. You cannot compare with somebody like time traveler. Um, the technology was not in our hands back then. You really had to struggle to get any material, and then right now everything has been scanned. It is in digital form. Even the Gnostic Gospels, they are all over the internet. Back then, these things were not readily available in the internet. Early 2010s.
I, I would just say it's actually a lot of factors actually to play a role because you may see there are a lot of people actually at this age when they see the technology and they can read anything from anywhere. But honestness is something which cannot be given by anyone. The desire to know
Yeah,
is not something. The
yeah,
hunger to know is not something which can be given by anyone. We may have been hindered by some things. Maybe life maybe wanted us to work in certain place at certain times. Now, out
yeah,
of that, attention is being driven to help in some other things. So you see, because this consciousness is a very worldwide thing, so it works on the physical level. So maybe our attention was actually required to function on a certain field first.
yeah.
Maybe something from us was required from a certain field because they actually knew you could handle this one much quicker. So we could first deal with this, then deal with this. Now, the honestness is one of the key things in which someone actually it must come. Now, that one I don't know how to speak about it because you cannot actually bring about it. The pain of ignorance when it hits us. Then I actually had a very intense period of 2 years, 2 to 3 years, a very, very intense period of. confusion. Can I say confusion?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
a yeah.
kind of confusion, not a confusion in a sense that I don't know what to do, but I
I
was
know.
actually looking because my ideas are why this, why I had a certain kind of ignorance. They demanded to know. Now I couldn't settle for anybody who could tell me. Actually, I was in a raised in a religious background. I went to Catholic for quite a few years, but I felt no. You cannot just be telling me something and I get when the pain of verifying, the pain of knowing was so deep that I couldn't settle for anything. I had some kind of restlessness. I just couldn't handle anything unless it happened to me. Like if somebody told me they saw gods, it could mean nothing to me unless it is myself. So times are different and some things happen differently in a certain way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then thanks a lot for catching up. I'll catch you later or tomorrow. Um, I really appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, time traveler. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, the other Dan with the snake as the emoji. And thank you, Auntie C. Yeah, thank you all. I'll catch you later. Thanks for tuning in. And most importantly, thank you, Monk. I hope to catch you again. I have a lot of many questions to engage you on. And I'm doing this not for performance, just to engage and also to understand what is going on because when you engage with other people who have also had this experience, it helps when we are networking and knowing each other. It helps even in developing my philosophy, you developing your philosophy because iron sharpens iron. Because in the process of teaching me something, in the process of me teaching you something, I'm also listening to myself, and your engagement also acts as a feedback. So everybody, it's a win-win for everybody, unless anybody becomes like that friend of mine called King Sun, where you totally have locked yourself. You do not want to learn anything totally. But for me, I'm not like that. I'm very open-minded. So thank you so much. I'll catch you
Yeah,
later.
thanks, man. I actually, okay, it's only until recently, maybe a year ago, that I actually found that, oh, maybe people have actually been having platforms. And I was very happy because for me, I really had a lot in which I could feel like I could share one or
Mm,
the first time I found an next page and I was at first okay, I actually never felt like I should have to share anything, but it was not a coincidence that things happened and I was forced to. In fact, it was not on my own. I never actually thought I could actually do something of this kind. But with time, I came to realize, oh, I actually could do it very good. And from that point, I joined some places and. The first time I went into a space, an next space, people were speaking of spirituality, but I went out too loud and I was too subtle, and they actually muted me and they chased me out of the space. Okay, I went back and sat down and I was like, okay, I'm taking this one too far. These guys, I'm taking them to the graduation fields and they've actually not started. And I actually, I actually chose, I actually chose to go into the illusion itself to
yeah,
discuss about spirituality. Okay, I was on a very great point of dismissal. I couldn't accept anything, including spirituality, because I wanted to end the journey immediately. I wanted people to see whatever they do. But I came to realize that is not it never works that way. You will tell somebody there is nothing to realize, and they will get confused. Now
yeah.
I chose the path to go down there, and I actually accepted spirituality for a while, and
Hmm.
I spoke in their terms. But with time, I kept on and opening some few other levels. Speaking of something else beyond a little bit, then I came to realize, oh, that is the way you do talk with people because you go there and tell them you are in an illusion, they will chase you out. They-
Cool. And when we catch up, I will tell you, I'm trying to create a community because I'm just like you. Like I tried looking for communities, but I never fit anywhere. Like, like there's so many people who claim to understand these subtle concepts, but deep down they have a deep-seated ego. Even when you make an attempt to challenge them in the least way possible, you'll find that you do not fit in that space. So for me, I'm making an effort to create a community that is not based on anything except pure reason, and pure knowledge, pure wisdom, and pure realization, like a realization that is not conditioned. So when we catch up next time, we can talk more about that, because for now I know we are time bound. We've been here for 2 hours
I'm also
52.
Yeah. I'm also, I'm also having a call, and there is something I am supposed to attend to. I think we'll catch up next time.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And thank you, Wesley. I can see you had
Thanks, man.
written.
Thanks, man.
We ignored Wesley's comments. I was not checking.
No, I'm actually seeing it. I'm
Oh,
actually
you've seen? Ah, sawa, sawa.
yeah,
And
I've seen the comments.
okay, nice one. We shall catch up. Donya, how are you? You joined when I was just leaving. I will give you a call
The,
right
the
now.
problem with these conversations, they keep us getting sweet. You see, there was a time we actually had like 12 hours. We had like 12 hours. The moment we are supposed to, like, the guys are now coming in and new fellow guys are coming in. I told them, 12 hours. We could actually speak for 12 hours.
Yeah, so
And
yeah.
people are still around. I think I will run away.
Fine, no worries. It's all about us knowing how to.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
man,
uh,
I will come, man. We'll catch up next time. I'm supposed to attend this thing.
Sawa,
But we'll talk.
sawa. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye. Next time. Donya, I'll give you a call right now.